Chapter 3144. My elixir is different from the Shang-Qing creation elixir. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Different? Zhao Xiaojin was stunned. What did he mean? Qin Feiyang did not explain further. He sat on the chair in the hall and waited quietly for Dan Wangkai. A moment later, Dan Wangkai finally walked out with an exquisite jade box in his hand and handed it to Zhao Xiaojin. Zhao Xiaojin took the jade box suspiciously and looked at Qin Feiyang. Open it. Qin Feiyang smiled. Zhao Xiaojin took a deep breath and her eyes were filled with anticipation. Then, she slowly opened the jade box. When the jade box was opened, a dazzling divine light surged out. It was the light of a dragon-shaped elixir. Each elixir had a total of 7 dragon-shaped elixirs. The rich medicinal fragrance instantly filled the entire hall of the ancient castle. This is the first time I've seen an elixir with 7 dragon-shaped elixirs. Zhao Xiaojin mumbled. What you hear may be false, but what you see is true. This person is indeed amazing. With his attainments in alchemy, even if he entered the demonic hall or the itinerant cultivator alliance, he would receive the best treatment. However, this person was willing to follow Qin Feiyang. What kind of charm does Qin Feiyang have? Zhao Xiaojin could not help but glance at Qin Feiyang with an inexplicable glow in her eyes. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, Dan Wangkai, tell her how to use these elixirs. Okay. Dan Wangkai nodded and took out a potential elixir from the jade box. He smiled and said, Miss Xiaojin, this is a potential elixir. It can open the door to the potential of a martial artist, martial master, and martial ancestor. What? Open the door to the potential of a martial artist, martial master, and martial ancestor? Zhao Xiaojin was stunned. Dan Wangkai took out another potential elixir and said with a smile, this is to open the battle monarch, battle emperor. Wait a moment. Zhao Xiaojin hurriedly said. What? Dan Wangkai looked at her suspiciously. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I really can't help it. Are you sure that this pill can unlock the potential of a martial artist, martial master, and martial ancestor? Zhao Xiaojin grabbed a potential pill and looked at Dan Wangkai in disbelief. Of course. Dan Wangkai nodded. But, how is this possible? I've heard that there are medicinal pills in the world that can open the gates of potential. However, it is said that these pill recipes were all recorded in the first volume of the Alchemy Canon. However, the first volume of the Alchemy Canon has long been lost. In fact, whether or not the first volume of the Alchemy Mantra even exists is another matter. Could it be that you developed these medicinal pills by yourself? Zhao Xiaojin was bewildered. Dan Wangkai turned to look at Qin Feiyang. Zhao Xiaojin also looked at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang looked at Zhao Xiaojin and said with a faint smile, you don't have to worry about that. All you need to know is that these pills can indeed help you open the door to your potential. Zhao Xiaojin wanted to say something but hesitated. Because she suddenly remembered that Qin Feiyang had asked her if she could be trusted. At that time, she was still a little confused. But now, when she saw these pills, she finally understood. It turned out that Qin Feiyang was referring to these pills. In other words, the existence of these pills was a taboo. Since it was a taboo, he naturally could not ask further. Qin Feiyang looked at Dan Wangkai and said with a smile, continue. Dan Wangkai nodded, looked at Zhao Xiaojin, and slowly explained the usage of all the pills. Soon. After he finished explaining, he smiled and said, as for the situation of the Shang-Qing creation pill, you already know, so I won't explain it in detail. Now, prepare to open the door of potential. All right. Zhao Xiaojin nodded and immediately sat cross-legged on the ground. Qin Feiyang swept his gaze across the ancient castle and said with a smile, Ancient castle, release your aura and help her. Boom! A wisp of pressure immediately emerged from the ancient castle and enveloped Zhao Xiaojin. Although it was only a wisp of pressure, as a Dominator divine weapon, it was not something that Zhao Xiaojin could withstand. Zhao Xiaojin suddenly felt as if she was about to suffocate. What a strong pressure! Could this be the legendary Dominator divine weapon? She scanned the castle, her eyes filled with shock. Don't let your imagination run wild, quickly consume the potential pill. Dan Wangkai shouted. Okay, okay, okay. Zhao Xiaojin replied repeatedly. After calming herself down, she took out a potential pill and placed it in her mouth. Outside, the city lord had been thinking of a way to break through the Black Tortoise realm. But even after exhausting all his methods, the Black Tortoise realm showed no signs of breaking. This made him unable to help but feel annoyed. At the same time, the desire in his heart became even stronger. Similarly, Zhao Xiaojin's uncle could not help but feel greed in their hearts. Even the city lord is unable to break through. This spatial divine object has at least reached the level of a legendary heaven-defying divine artifact. I think so too. However, the city lord is obviously determined to win. We can't beat him, so we can only watch helplessly. The two of them communicated secretly. Suddenly, the city lord looked at the two of them and said with a frown, "The two of you, ah." The two of them thought that the city lord had seen through their thoughts and looked slightly flustered. Immediately pass down my order, tell everyone in Wind Sea City to evacuate the city immediately. The city lord spoke. Evacuate the city? The two of them were stunned. That's right. I want to use the heaven-defying divine artifact to split it open. The city lord's eyes flickered. City lord, you can't. We've all heard of your heaven-defying divine artifact. It's a peak-level heaven-defying divine artifact. If it fully recovers, Cloud Sea City will be instantly reduced to ashes. Their expressions changed drastically. That's why I asked you to pass down my order to have everyone withdraw first. The city lord said. But, the two of them frowned. The city lord shouted, "Do you need me to repeat myself?" No need, no need. The two of them hurriedly waved their hands. Zhao Xiaojin's uncle hesitated again, but, speak. The city lord was extremely impatient. If Cloud Sea City is really razed to the ground, I think it will definitely reach the 10th Elder's ears. When he asks about it, how will we explain it? Zhao Xiaojin's uncle said nervously. You really reminded me. We really can't let him know about this. Otherwise, he'll definitely blame me. After all, even he doesn't have such a powerful spatial divine artifact. The city lord pondered for a moment, and his eyes gradually lit up as he said with a smile, I've already thought of an idea. What idea? The two of them were curious. When the time comes, we'll say that Mo Yuan and the others also have a heaven-defying divine artifact. In order to avoid harming the innocent people, we asked everyone to evacuate the city in advance. As for the destruction of the city, we'll say that before Mo Yuan and the others died, they wanted to perish together with us and revive the heaven-defying divine artifact. The city lord said. City lord, you're brilliant. Both of their faces were filled with admiration. Go quickly. Your Zhao family should hurry up and pack up as well. We must complete the mission before dawn. After the mission is completed, you'll also be rewarded. The city lord chuckled. Yes. The two of them nodded respectfully. The city lord waved his hand, and the people of the Zhao family immediately appeared outside the hall. Black Tortoise Realm. Zhao Xiaojin's Gate of Potential had all been opened, including the Gate of Potential of the Undead Realm. This made her extremely excited. In the past, she didn't even dare to think about opening one Gate of Potential, let alone opening all the Gates of Potential. This felt like a dream. Dan Wangkai, take her to my house to wash up." Qin Feiyang waved his hand. The ancient castle had already retracted its pressure. Dan Wangkai walked in front of Zhao Xiaojin and said with a smile, "Miss, let's go." "Okay." Zhao Xiaojin got up and quickly followed Dan Wangkai out of the ancient castle. Not long after, the two of them returned to the ancient castle. Zhao Xiaojin changed into a clean set of clothes, and she looked full of energy. "How do you feel?" Qin Feiyang asked with a smile. "I feel very good. It's as if I've been reborn. The most obvious thing is the power of law. In the past, there were many things that I didn't understand, but now that I think about it a little, I seem to understand it." Zhao Xiaojin was overjoyed. "This is the improvement of potential and comprehension. This is all I can help you with. You'll have to rely on yourself for the rest." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "It's enough. Thank you." Zhao Xiaojin bowed to Qin Feiyang, then looked at Dan Wangkai and said, "Thank you too." "It's nothing. All right, I'll continue to refine pills. You guys chat." After saying that, Dan Wangkai turned around and entered the cultivation room, closing the stone door. "Does he only know how to refine pills?" Zhao Xiaojin was stunned. "You're right. Other than refining pills, he's not interested in anything else. Even if it's cultivation, I have to force him." Qin Feiyang shook his head helplessly. "No wonder his attainments in alchemy are so high." Zhao Xiaojin nodded in realization. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "Now, let's talk about it. How do you plan to deal with the Zhao family?" Zhao Xiaojin's face darkened as she sat across from Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang had already brewed a pot of tea. He poured a cup of tea from the teapot and pushed it in front of Zhao Xiaojin. Zhao Xiaojin ignored it and lowered her head in deep thought. Qin Feiyang did not disturb her and drank his tea quietly. A short while later, Zhao Xiaojin looked up at Qin Feiyang and said, "If it's up to you, you'll definitely kill them, right?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang did not deny it. He did not like to cause trouble, but he was never afraid of it. Especially those who wanted to harm him. If there were no special circumstances, he would not let them go. The so-called special circumstances, such as Zhuo Tiansheng. There was no other way. After all, Madman and Zhuo Shaoxian were together. Moreover, other than being ruthless, Zhuo Tiansheng was not bad in other aspects. "I knew it. But I'm a little confused." Zhao Xiaojin sighed. "I understand. It happened too suddenly. I haven't recovered yet. There's no rush. You can think about it slowly. But this city lord of Cloud Sea City, what kindness does your father have for him?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. "This matter started when they were young. At that time, my father had a very good relationship with him. According to my father, when this person was young, he was proud and arrogant and offended many people. Once, he accidentally offended someone from the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. Although this person was only an ordinary member of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance, he still had the Rogue Cultivator Alliance backing him. So, he found someone to kill him. At that time, my father had just joined the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. When he found out about this, he immediately went to apologize. That person saw that my father was also a member of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance and his attitude was so good, so he did not look for trouble with the city lord. Later on, it was also because of my father that he joined the Rogue Cultivator Alliance and became the current city lord of Wind Sea City." Zhao Xiaojin said. "I see." Qin Feiyang came to a sudden realization. "That's why I feel very uncomfortable. My family was harmed, my relatives betrayed me, and even my father's friends turned against me. I haven't done anything outrageous in my life. How did I end up being betrayed by my family?" Zhao Xiaojin's face was filled with anger. This is life. Many times, many things are not what we can predict. The only thing we can do is to face it bravely, work hard to break the shackles of fate, and live our own lives. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Live your own life, Zhao Xiaojin muttered, and her eyes gradually became firm. She bowed and said, "Thank you, Qin Dage, for your guidance. I will work hard." Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. It seemed that he would have another sister. However, his sisters seemed to be older than him. Chapter 3145. Zhao Xiaojin looked at the city lord on the screen and frowned slightly. She asked, "Then how do we escape?" "This is easy to solve." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "Easy to solve?" Zhao Xiaojin was stunned. In her opinion, this was practically impossible because the city lord was a perfect dominator. Moreover, he had a heaven-defying divine artifact. Unless Qin Feiyang used a dominator divine artifact. However, Qin Feiyang had personally said that the dominator divine artifact wasn't something he could control. Therefore, they couldn't count on the castle. Besides the castle, what other methods did Qin Feiyang have? A heaven-defying divine artifact? That's right. Qin Feiyang did have many heaven-defying divine artifacts, but they were only at the pinnacle level. Although a pinnacle-level heaven-defying divine artifact could rival a dominator, it was still a long way from a perfect dominator. Could it be that Qin Feiyang wanted to use numbers to win? However, even if he had more than a dozen heaven-defying divine artifacts, he might not be able to break through the city lord's barrier. You don't have to worry about this. Think about it carefully. Do you want to return to the Alliance capital after leaving Cloud Sea City? Qin Feiyang stood up and smiled. If you see it, you have to go back. Zhao Xiaojin said without hesitation. Qin Feiyang was slightly surprised. He thought that Zhao Xiaojin would be afraid and not dare to return to the Alliance capital. However, he didn't expect that she wouldn't even hesitate. Aren't you afraid that the 10th Elder will continue to take revenge on you? Qin Feiyang asked with a smile. I am. However, as the saying goes, the most dangerous place is the safest place. Outside, the 10th Elder can kill us without fear. However, in the Alliance capital, with the Vice-Alliance Master and Alliance Master, he will more or less restrain himself. Zhao Xiaojin said. You can even think of this. Not bad. Qin Feiyang nodded. Are you kidding? I'm not stupid, okay? Zhao Xiaojin pouted. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, then you can rest here for a while. I'll make arrangements for our departure. Okay. Zhao Xiaojin nodded. It just so happened that she wanted to be alone for a while. No matter how strong she was still a woman after all. After so many things had happened, her heart must have reached its limit. Being alone for a while could more or less relieve some stress. After leaving the castle, Qin Feiyang went straight to the madman's courtyard. Of course, he wasn't looking for a lunatic. Because madman was in the castle. The person he was looking for was Zhuo Xiaoxian. He sensed Zhuo Xiaoxian's aura before he even entered the residence. There was a hint of surprise in his eyes. Zhuo Xiaoxian's aura had already reached the half-step undead realm. As a matter of fact, Zhuo Xiaoxian was very talented. It was just that she hated cultivation because of her family. Xiaoxian. Qin Feiyang entered the courtyard, stood downstairs, and shouted. A short while later, Zhuo Xiaoxian ran out from her room on the second floor, stood on the balcony, and said with a grin, Qin Dage, what brings you here today? Why do you have time to visit me? Southwest wind. Qin Feiyang let out a smile. He leapt and landed in front of Zhuo Xiaoxian, then said with a smile, how rare, you've started cultivating. Everyone is trying their best to cultivate. If I only know how to play all day long, wouldn't I be too weird? Zhuo Xiaoxian shook her head. Actually, a girl needs to be strong too, because at least when you're in danger, you should be able to protect yourself. I'm not here to have a chat. I'm looking for your father and foster father. I have something to discuss with them. Qin Feiyang said. Sure. I'll send them a message. Zhuo Xiaoxian nodded and took out the sound-conducting godly stone. However, a moment later, Zhuo Tiansheng did not respond. What's going on? Zhuo Xiaoxian frowned and sent a message to her foster father. In the end, her foster father did not respond either. Strange. Could something have happened to them? Zhuo Xiaoxian could not help but feel worried. That won't happen. If something did happen, they would definitely send us a message right away. Maybe it's not convenient to talk to us now. Let's wait and see. Qin Feiyang smiled. Okay, I'll make you a pot of tea first. After saying that, Zhuo Xiaoxian turned around and ran to the first floor. Looking at Zhuo Xiaoxian's back, Qin Feiyang could not help but smile. Sensible and obedient. It was lunatic's blessing for such a woman to fall in love with him. Then, he sat on the reclining chair next to him. On the balcony, there were 2 reclining chairs made of bamboo strips and a simple round table. When he had nothing to do, lying here, basking in the sun, drinking tea, and looking at the scenery of the Devil's Land was also a kind of enjoyment. After a while, Zhuo Xiaoxian walked up with a teapot and teacups. The tea leaves were naturally the Tianxian du that fire lotus personally cultivated. The rich tea fragrance spread for thousands of miles. Zhuo Xiaoxian asked curiously, Qin Dage, I heard that you brought another young lady? Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded and asked, what's wrong? Nothing, I'm just a little curious. What's her name? Where is she from? Zhuo Xiaoxian was confused. Her name is Zhao Xiaojin. Her ancestral home is in Cloud Sea City, and she lives in the Alliance capital. She has encountered a lot of things recently, thus she's in a bad mood. If you're free, please talk to her for me. Qin Feiyang said. What is it? Zhuo Xiaoxian was confused. As Qin Feiyang sipped his tea, he briefly recounted what had happened to Zhao Xiaojin over the past few days. How pitiful. Zhuo Xiaoxian shook her head. I know, right? Qin Feiyang let out a sigh. Buzz. At that instant, Zhuo Xiaoxian's voice transmission godly stone echoed. Its father. Zhuo Xiaoxian took it out and read it. Her face was filled with joy as she activated the voice transmission godly stone. Following this, 3 illusionary figures appeared. They were Zhuo Tiansheng, Elder Yu, and the city lord. What were you doing just then? You're ignoring me. Zhuo Xiaoxian glanced at them with a displeased look. Girl, do you think everyone is as carefree as you are? Zhuo Tiansheng rolled his eyes at Zhuo Xiaoxian and asked, why are you looking for us? It's Qin Dage who's looking for you. Zhuo Xiaoxian turned the voice transmission godly stone around and faced Qin Feiyang who was sitting opposite her. It's been a few hundred years since we last met. How are you doing? Qin Feiyang let out a smile. Zhuo Tiansheng said with a smile, we're doing great. How about you? How's your progress in the Alliance? I've been staying in the Alliance for a few hundred years, and I've passed the trial. I'm preparing to enter the Hall of the Exalted. Qin Feiyang let out a smile. No way, you've passed the trial? The 3 were astounded. Isn't it normal for Qin Dage to pass the trial? Zhuo Xiaoxian interrupted. The 3 were slightly startled, before they nodded with a wry smile, that's true. Speaking of the Hall of the Exalted, I do recall something. Qin Feiyang, do you know someone called Mo Wuji and Zhao Xiaojin? The city lord asked. Yes, why? Qin Feiyang nodded and looked at the three suspiciously. 3 days ago, the 10th elder sent us a message, asking us to look for someone called Mo Wuhui. I heard that this Mo Wuhui is Mo Wuji's elder brother. The two of them and this Zhao Xiaojin seem to have offended the 10th elder and are preparing to take revenge on them. The city lord said. I see. Qin Feiyang nodded and asked, then do you know Zhao Xiaojin? Of course. Zhao Xiaojin's father is called Zhao Eryong. Every time we enter the alliance, he's the one who opens the barrier for us. Over time, we've become familiar with each other. The city lord nodded. Then, do you know about Zhao Eryong's death? Qin Feiyang asked. He's dead? The three were surprised. It seems that the news hasn't spread yet. That's right. He's been killed. As for the Mo Wuhui you found, he's actually senior crazy. Qin Feiyang smiled. What? It's actually little crazy? The three were stunned. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. Zhuo Tiansheng was stunned. If that little crazy is Mo Wuhui, then aren't you Mo Wuji? Yes. That's our name in the alliance. As for Zhao Eryong, to tell you the truth, he's already following me. So, his death made me very sad. Because of this, Zhao Xiaojin is also in my black tortoise world. But now, we've encountered some trouble and I need your help. Qin Feiyang said. I didn't expect this to be related to you. The city lord took a deep breath and asked, help you with what? Now, we're trapped in the Zhao family's residence in the Cloud Sea City. The city lord is personally overseeing this place. I need your help to break the barrier so that I can leave. Qin Feiyang said. Aren't you in the alliance? Why are you trapped in the Cloud Sea City? The three were puzzled. It's like this, Qin Feiyang recounted everything that had happened in detail. So that's how it is. The three were enlightened. We definitely won't refuse to help you. But we know the city lord of the Cloud Sea City. Moreover, this is the order of the 10th elder. How can we help? The city lord frowned. That's right. If we help you, the 10th elder won't let us go. Besides that, there's another troublesome matter. Zhuo Tiansheng said. Troublesome matter? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Yes. Zhuo Tiansheng nodded. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, this person has a legendary grade heaven-defying artifact. What? A legendary grade heaven-defying artifact? Qin Feiyang was shocked, and then his expression froze as he hurriedly said, wait, why did I hear Zhao Xiaojin's eldest uncle and second uncle say that he possesses a peak-grade heaven-defying divine artifact? Previously in the castle, although he was helping Zhao Xiaojin open the door of potential, he had been paying attention to the situation outside. Therefore, he heard the conversation between the city lord and Zhao Xiaojin's big uncle and second uncle. At that time, the two of them were indeed talking about a peak-grade heaven-defying artifact. It's just an illusion. Zhuo Tiansheng shook his head. Illusion? Qin Feiyang was stunned. That's right. Zhuo Tiansheng nodded and asked again, you should know the 4 super cities of the eastern continent, right? Yes. These 4 super cities are Wind Sea City, Cloud Sea City, Sky Sea City, and East Sea City. Qin Feiyang said. Yes, these are the 4 super cities. And the city lords of these 4 super cities actually have a legendary grade heaven-defying artifact. Zhuo Tiansheng said. All of them? Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. Then, he looked at Zhao Xiaojin's foster father and asked, then you have one too? Chapter 3146. Of course. The city lord nodded with a smile. Tisk, TSK, TSK. I've never seen a legendary grade divine artifact before. Qin Feiyang looked envious. Kid, you're making fun of me, aren't you? You even have a sovereign divine weapon, why would you be envious of my legendary artifact? The city lord rolled his eyes. I'm not joking, I'm really envious. Qin Feiyang chuckled. He couldn't control the ancient castle at all, so if he had a legendary artifact, he might not be invincible, but he could at least protect himself. The city lord glared at Qin Feiyang in annoyance and said, although we 4 city lords all possess legend-rank heaven-defying divine artifacts, we only tell others that they are peak-rank heaven-defying divine artifacts. Why hide it from the public? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. On one hand, it's to guard against the demon palace, and on the other hand, it's to keep a low profile. The city lord smiled. Low profile? Qin Feiyang pursed his lips. He really couldn't tell. The city lord said, so, it's very difficult to touch the city lord of Cloud Sea City. Who said we're going to touch him? I just want you to help me escape. You just have to help me break the barrier. As for the city lord of Cloud Sea City, I'll slowly settle the score with him in the future. Qin Feiyang's eyes were filled with coldness. Just escape? The 3 of them were stunned. If that was the case, it would be very simple. At that time, they could just change their appearance, run to Cloud Sea City, break the barrier, and leave. Who would know it was them? Okay. I'll make a trip there myself. You should also get ready. Once the barrier is broken, leave immediately. The city lord looked at Qin Feiyang and smiled. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. The city lord was also a perfect sovereign, so it would be easy for him to break the barrier. Okay, I'll go now. After the city lord finished speaking, the figure disappeared. Qin Feiyang let out a long breath and looked at Zhuo Xiaoxian. I still don't know your foster father's name. My foster father is Lu Zhengyuan. Zhuo Xiaoxian replied. Lu Zhengyuan, Qin Feiyang murmured and asked curiously, does he not have a family? No. I heard from my adoptive father that his parents died when he was young. He has been alone since he was young. Zhuo Xiaoxian said. Then why didn't he marry and have children? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. I heard from my father that when foster father was young, he had a woman. However, for some unknown reason, the 2 of them separated. From then on, foster father never found another woman. Zhou Xiaoxian shook her head. I see. It seems that your adoptive father is also a man with a story. Qin Feiyang smiled. Yes. Zhuo Xiaoxian nodded. It would take a long time to travel from Wind Ocean City to Cloud Ocean City. Therefore, Qin Feiyang was not in a hurry. After chatting with Zhuo Xiaoxian for a while, he returned home to spend time with the mermaid princess. Zhuo Xiaoxian also went to find Zhao Xiaojin. However, Qin Feiyang had told her not to tell Zhao Xiaojin about the Black Tortoise world for the time being. Outside, the people of Cloud Ocean City were moving in a hurry. Although they did not know what was going on, it was an order from the city governor's estate. They did not dare to disobey. Late that night, the huge Cloud Ocean City became an empty city. Everyone gathered outside the city and looked at the city from afar. Their eyes were filled with bewilderment. What was going on? Everyone was actually asked to leave the city? Late that night, the Zhao family, Zhao Xiaojin's eldest and second uncles, returned to the main hall. They looked at the city governor and said respectfully, "My lord, everything has been arranged. You're quite efficient." The city governor chuckled. "My lord, how could we dare to neglect your orders?" Both of them smiled obsequiously. "All right, you two leave the city as well." The city governor waved his hand. "Yes." Both of them replied respectfully. Although they wanted the Black Tortoise world and were very unwilling, they did not dare to act rashly in front of the powerful city governor. They turned around and tore through the sky. Around 100 breaths later, the city governor stood up slowly. His divine sense was firmly locked onto the black tortoise world. He smiled and said, "I'll give you one last chance. Come out and accept your death, and I'll leave your corpses intact." But a short moment passed, and no one answered him. Stubborn fools. The city governor's face instantly turned cold, and he instantly appeared outside the barrier and stood in the air above the main hall. After that, divine energy surged out and covered the heavens and the earth as it surged towards the surroundings. In just a few breaths of time, another enormous divine energy barrier appeared. This enormous barrier enveloped the entire city. He'd done this to further prevent Qin Feiyang from escaping with the black tortoise world. Because once he awakened the heaven-defying legendary artifact, then the barrier that trapped the main hall would be destroyed. Once the barrier was destroyed, then Qin Feiyang would naturally be able to escape with the black tortoise world. So, he wanted to prevent that from happening. Look! Quick! That's the city governor's barrier, right? Why did he set up such a huge barrier? The people outside the city had puzzled expressions on their faces. The only ones who knew about it were the members of the Zhao family. Clang! In the air above the main hall. After he finished setting up the barrier, the cold smile on the city governor's face grew even wider. He waved his hand, and a 1 m long sword appeared. The long sword was completely black, and it emanated a terrifying sharpness. This was his legendary heaven-defying divine artifact. Now, even if you take the initiative to beg for mercy, I won't give you a chance. He laughed sinisterly, grabbed the black sword, and appeared in the main hall with a single step. He slashed at the black tortoise world. Dazzling flames immediately erupted from the collision in the air. A terrifying aura erupted. The main hall was shattered, and the barrier collapsed. The entire Zhao family was razed to the ground. However, at the same time, the city governor's body shook, and he staggered back repeatedly. Cracks also appeared on the blade of the black longsword in his hand. How is this possible? His face was instantly filled with disbelief. Originally, he was full of confidence. After all, it was a legendary artifact. But he never expected that it would be him who was blasted back by the terrifying impact. Not only was his arm numb, but the blood in his body was also surging. What level of spatial artifact was that? His heart was filled with shock. At the same time, the greed in his eyes grew even stronger. Awaken! He roared furiously. Clang! The black sword immediately started to awaken. A terrifying aura instantly surged out in all directions from the Zhao family. Rumble. Crack. Along with a series of loud bangs that shook the heavens and the earth, the halls and houses collapsed one after another like the ears of wheat in a field. In just an instant, the prosperous ocean of Cloud City had been reduced to nothingness. The barrier that enveloped the entire city trembled violently and warped from the impact of the aura. The city governor was a perfect ruler. The might of a legendary artifact was equivalent to a perfect ruler. However, a fully awakened legendary artifact couldn't be underestimated. After all, the barrier was only formed from divine energy and wasn't enhanced by any divine techniques. A small barrier wouldn't be able to resist it at all. For example, the barrier outside the main hall had instantly collapsed. However, the barrier was large enough to envelop the entire city. Moreover, it was common knowledge that the fluctuations of battle would gradually weaken with distance. In other words, when the black sword's aura spread outside the city, its might had weakened greatly. So, the barrier set up by the city governor was barely able to resist the aura and prevent it from shattering. So long as the barrier didn't shatter, then Qin Feiyang wouldn't be able to utilize the black tortoise world to escape the city in the blink of an eye. Slash! As the black sword awakened, the city governor roared fiercely, and the black sword slashed down towards the black tortoise world once more. Clang! Flames appeared once more. The city governor was blasted back once more. The black longsword in his hand shattered into pieces with a kacha sound. This. He fell into shock as he gazed at the fragments of the sword that fell to the ground. It was actually so terrifying. What powerful fluctuations! Who is the city governor fighting? Even though the barrier was sealed off, the people outside the city could still sense the terrifying aura. A middle-aged man was standing silently within the crowd. He was around 40 years old, had an ordinary appearance, and didn't possess a strong aura. He was Zhao Xiaojin's adoptive father, Lu Zhengyuan. However, he'd changed his face to an unfamiliar one, and he'd intentionally concealed his cultivation. Lu Zhengyuan laughed bitterly as he gazed at the madly warping barrier. This kid was simply a scourge. No matter where he went, he would cause a big mess. Swoosh! A moment later, he flashed out from the crowd and charged towards the barrier. The others immediately gazed at Lu Zhengyuan with surprise and bewilderment. What's he trying to do? Bang! A monstrous aura erupted as Lu Zhengyuan slapped his palm against the barrier with all his might. What a formidable aura! He seems to be a peak sovereign. Shit! Flee! Once the barrier shatters, the fluctuations of the battle will charge out from within. If we don't flee quickly, then we'll all be finished. Someone suddenly roared furiously. In an instant, everyone turned around and fled with terror. But in an instant, only Lu Zhengyuan remained here. A bright glow flashed through Lu Zhengyuan's eyes as he slammed his palm against the barrier, and then powerful divine energy surged out from his palm. Crack! Along with a deafening explosion, the barrier shattered into pieces. Sure enough. At the instant the barrier shattered, the waves of energy sealed within it surged out with overwhelming force. Enormous mountains collapsed madly while the ground shattered. It was like the end of the world had arrived. Those who fled were still fleeing, and they felt extremely fortunate in their hearts. Fortunately, they'd fled in time, otherwise, they would have probably perished. However, in that way, they had no idea what the city governor of Ocean of Cloud City was doing. Because they were too far away, even sovereigns were unable to see the situation within the city clearly. At the same time, the city governor who was in a daze suddenly raised his head and looked towards the barrier. Why has the barrier shattered? The dignified city governor of Ocean of Cloud City actually bullied a junior. Aren't you afraid of being ridiculed by the world? Lu Zhengyuan's voice resounded. Of course. His voice had changed, so the city governor didn't know who he was at all. Who are you? The city governor looked towards the source of the voice, and a vicious expression instantly crept up between his brows when he saw Lu Zhengyuan who stood outside the city. I'm someone you can't afford to offend. Lu Zhengyuan laughed coldly, and then he paid no further attention to the city governor. He just turned around and flew away. You're courting death. The city governor was furious. He was just about to pursue Qin Shi when his expression suddenly changed, and he hurriedly released his divine sense to scan the surroundings. End of this chapter. Chapter 3147. Where's the spatial treasure? Damn it! He roared and immediately released his divine perception, and it surged towards the surroundings. But it didn't take long. He'd captured the Black Tortoise world in the west. But at this moment, the Black Tortoise world had flashed out of the city. Let's see where you can run to. The city governor roared explosively once more, and then he pursued like a bolt of lightning. Lu Zhengyuan couldn't help but turn around when he heard the city governor shout, and then he frowned slightly. The barrier had been destroyed, so it shouldn't be difficult for Qin Feiyang to escape with his ability. Swoosh! Right when Lu Zhengyuan was considering whether he should keep the city governor busy, Qin Feiyang appeared in the sky outside the city. Qin Batian appeared with him. However, Qin Batian had changed his appearance as well. After all, Qin Batian had appeared in Wind Ocean City. If others saw his true appearance, then Qin Feiyang's identity would definitely be exposed. "You're actually still alive." The city governor's eyes opened wide when he saw Qin Feiyang appear. "My life is very tough. Even the heavens don't dare to take it, let alone you. As I said before, the best part is yet to come. Just wait and see." Qin Feiyang laughed coldly. Qin Batian opened up a spatial passageway as well. After that, both of them turned around and walked into the spatial passageway without looking back. That's the laws of space. The city governor's eyes opened wide with rage as he charged madly towards the spatial passageway, and his face was covered in disbelief. He'd never imagined that someone who possessed the laws of space would actually be by Qin Batian's side. However, the spatial passageway had vanished by the time he caught up. Damn it! Damn it! After expending so much effort, not to mention obtaining the Black Tortoise World, he hadn't even been able to kill Qin Feiyang. If the 10th Elder found out that Qin Feiyang had escaped right under his nose, then the 10th Elder would absolutely not let him off. There's still him. The city governor thought of Lu Zhengyuan. But when he turned around, Lu Zhengyuan had already disappeared without a trace. In this situation, there was only one sentence that could be used to describe him. It was like drawing water with a sieve. Outside Tianfeng City. Ancestor, your spacetime law is really useful. When will you explain it to me? Let's see if I can comprehend the spacetime law as well. Qin Feiyang looked at Qin Batian enviously. Sure. Qin Batian nodded and smiled. Naturally, he would not hide anything from Qin Feiyang. Moreover, he also believed that with Qin Feiyang's potential and comprehension ability, he would definitely be able to comprehend even more laws. All right. I'll look for you when I enter the Hall of the Exalted. Qin Feiyang laughed mischievously. Yes. Although I've never met this 10th Elder before, I can tell from his actions that he's not someone to be trifled with. You have to be careful. Qin Batian reminded. I will. Qin Feiyang nodded and then asked, when will you be able to comprehend the fifth profundity of the spacetime law? Don't mention this. Whether it's me or Brother Zhengyang, we're both stuck at this step. It's not an exaggeration to say that it's hundreds or thousands of times more difficult than the fourth profundity. Qin Batian shook his head and sighed. There's no rush. Take your time. For this kind of thing, the more anxious you are, the harder it will be. Qin Feiyang consoled. Do I still need you to comfort me? Just take good care of yourself. Qin Batian smiled faintly. All right. Qin Feiyang nodded and sent Qin Batian to the Black Tortoise World. At the same time, he took Zhao Xiaojin out of the Black Tortoise World. Where is this? Zhao Xiaojin looked around suspiciously. This is near Tianfeng City. Qin Feiyang smiled. So, we've already escaped? Zhao Xiaojin was stunned. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. How did you do it? Zhao Xiaojin's eyes were filled with curiosity. Although only half a day had passed in the outside world, a few hundred years had passed in the Black Tortoise World. With Zhuo Xiaoxian's guidance, he had already walked out of his sorrow. Since you already know Zhuo Xiaoxian, you should be able to guess my relationship with her father and her adoptive father. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. I see. Zhao Xiaojin nodded in realization. Then, he looked at Qin Feiyang with a serious expression and said, Qin Dage, I don't care about anything else, but you mustn't implicate Zhuo Tiansheng and the others because I don't want Xiaoxian to suffer the pain of losing her family like me. I know. Besides, only you know my relationship with them. Qin Feiyang smiled. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Zhao Xiaojin promised solemnly. I believe you. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. What about now? Are we still going back to the alliance capital directly, or? Zhao Xiaojin asked. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said with a smile, you go back to the alliance capital first. I'll stay outside to take care of some things. When I'm done, I'll go back. What's the matter? Zhao Xiaojin was puzzled. It's a small matter. Qin Feiyang smiled. Zhao Xiaojin's face darkened as he said unhappily, do you think I'm so easy to fool? Tell me honestly, are you going to take revenge on Wu Sanyuan? Wu Sanyuan was the city lord of Wind Sea City. Why would I look for him? I don't have that ability now. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. It's good that you know. All right then, I'll go back first. Be careful. Zhao Xiaojin reminded. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. Zhao Xiaojin opened an altar. Wait. Qin Feiyang called out to her again. What's wrong? Zhao Xiaojin turned to look at him suspiciously. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said, you'd better send a message to Yi Tian and ask him to pick you up. Why? Zhao Xiaojin was stunned. Don't you think that all of this is too much of a coincidence? A cold light flashed in Qin Feiyang's eyes. What's too much of a coincidence? Zhao Xiaojin was a little confused. We encountered such a thing as soon as we arrived at the Zhao family. When I sent a message to Zhuo Tiansheng and the others, I heard that the 10th elder had already given the order to search for senior brother Madman 3 days ago. 3 days ago, wasn't that the day we left the alliance capital? But think about it, who knew that we left the alliance capital that day? Qin Feiyang said. It seems that only Big Brother Yi Tian knew. You mean, Big Brother Yi Tian betrayed us? Zhao Xiaojin was surprised. Yi Tian definitely wouldn't. You've also neglected another person. Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered. Who? Zhao Xiaojin asked. The black-robed old man who replaced your father to guard the Kanglan Snow Mountain. Qin Feiyang said. Zhao Xiaojin was slightly stunned and nodded. I really didn't think of him. As long as he and Yi Tian know that we left the alliance capital, then it must be this person. If I'm not wrong, this person should be the 10th elder's man. At that time, he didn't believe us and wanted to find someone to confirm it. I think the person he found should be the 10th elder. Qin Feiyang sneered. I really didn't expect him to be the 10th elder's lackey. Zhao Xiaojin's eyes flickered with a cold light. Fortunately, Qin Feiyang thought of this. Otherwise, if he ran back like this, it would be tantamount to walking into a trap. So, let Yi Tian come and pick you up. With Yi Tian accompanying you, let alone him, even the 10th elder won't dare to do anything to you. Qin Feiyang said. Okay. Zhao Xiaojin nodded and then said, when you return to the alliance capital, be careful. Send me a message and I'll let Big Brother Yi Tian come and pick you up. During these years in the Black Tortoise world, they had already established a contract. Don't worry. If this person is really the 10th elder's eagle claw, I won't let him live for too long. Qin Feiyang sneered. Hearing Qin Feiyang's words, Zhao Xiaojin didn't have the slightest doubt in his heart. He felt that as long as it came from this man's mouth, then it could definitely be done. After Zhao Xiaojin left, Qin Feiyang stood in the void and muttered with his head lowered. He stayed outside for the time being because he wanted to deal with Wu Sanyuan. In his dictionary, there was no such thing as a gentleman taking revenge even after 10 years. If someone dared to kill him, he would immediately counterattack. Without saying anything else, he would at least collect some interest. Wu Sanyuan, Qin Feiyang sneered and took out a facial restoration pill to restore his true appearance. If he wanted to take revenge on Wu Sanyuan, it wasn't appropriate to use the identity of Mo Yuanyuan. Because of this identity, his hands and feet were tied. If he wasn't careful, he might even expose his identity. Therefore, he might as well reveal his true form and go all out in the open. Shua. With a thought, the white-eyed wolf and the madman appeared. What now? The madman stared at Qin Feiyang unhappily. Couldn't he just let him cultivate in peace for a while? We've disappeared for so many years. If we don't cause a ruckus, I'm afraid everyone will forget about us. Qin Feiyang laughed. Cause a ruckus? The madman and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other and immediately looked at Qin Feiyang with interest and asked, "What ruckus? Weren't you not interested?" Qin Feiyang said indifferently. "Spit it out." The madman rolled his eyes. Qin Feiyang moved to the side of the man and the wolf's ears and muttered. The madman and the white-eyed wolf's eyes were gradually filled with a sly smile. Ocean of Cloud City. Early in the morning. The fluctuations of the battle had calmed down. However, the desolate ground would definitely not be able to recover in a short period of time. The people who'd withdrawn from the city had returned. Moreover, they were working together to rebuild the city under the lead of the city governor's estate. On a huge mountain far away from the city, Wu Sanyuan stood by himself at the peak of the mountain with a transmission stone in his hand, and a yellow-clothed old man floated in the air before him. Wu Sanyuan had his head lowered, and his face was covered in terror. The yellow-clothed old man was the 10th elder. At this moment, the 10th elder stared at Wu Sanyuan with an extremely gloomy expression. "You actually failed even with the assistance of the Zhao clan. I've never seen anyone more useless than you." A short while later, the 10th elder couldn't help but roar furiously. "Elder, spare me. I can't do anything about it. Mo Wuyuan has too many companions. One of them isn't weaker to me, and the other has even grasped the laws of space." Wu Sanyuan shuddered and hurriedly knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. "You're still trying to deny it. How am I supposed to trust you in the future if you can't even accomplish such a trivial matter?" The 10th elder spoke with a gloomy expression on his face. "I deserve death. Elder, please show mercy. I'll definitely serve Elder wholeheartedly from today onward." Wu Sanyuan kowtowed incessantly, and he didn't seem to have any dignity at all as a city governor. "Humph. If it weren't for the fact that your cultivation is still decent, would have really killed you. Stand up." The 10th elder grunted coldly and spoke indifferently. "Thank you, Elder, for sparing my life." Wu Sanyuan was overjoyed and hurriedly stood up. "Don't interfere in the matter between Mo Wuyuan and Zhao Shaojin. Your current mission is to find that fellow, Mo Wuhui. Remember, you must find him. If you can't even accomplish that, then there's really no point in keeping you alive." The 10th elder laughed coldly. "I'll definitely do it." Wu Sanyuan's gaze trembled as he hurriedly nodded. "All right then, I'll wait for your good news." After the 10th elder finished speaking, the illusory image quickly dissipated. Wu Sanyuan finally heaved a sigh of relief. He wiped off his cold sweat and put away the divine sound transmission stone. His face was full of worry. Although he managed to keep his life, the next task was giving him a headache. The eastern continent was so big, where was he going to find Mo Wuhui? Wasn't this like finding a needle in a haystack? Damn Mo Wuyuan, damn Mo Wuhui, if there's a chance, I'll definitely chop you brothers into pieces and feed you to the dogs. The more he thought about it, the more irritated and annoyed he became. In the end, he couldn't help but roar towards the sky. Chapter 3148. 3 days passed. With the help of everyone in the city, the reconstruction of the city was completed. The scale wasn't inferior to before. After all, the people in the city were basically at the imperishable realm. Even a large family like the Zhao family had a sovereign realm expert. For a powerhouse of this level, building a city was a piece of cake for him. However, the layout of the new city didn't change. For example, the Zhao family was still located on the outskirts of the western district, and the area of the mansion was the same as before. The city was built, and all the shops and restaurants were reopened, showing a bustling scene. But now, what everyone was discussing the most was who Wu Sanyuan was fighting with that night. Who was the person who destroyed the barrier? Early morning. The sun rose slowly, and everything gradually recovered. East City Gate. 2 men and a dog walked over from afar. The dog was a large black and gray dog. Its fur was dirty as if it hadn't bathed for decades, and it was emitting a foul smell. The men were 2 middle-aged men. They looked ordinary and were relatively sloppy. The 2 men and the dog walked to the city gate. What's that smell? In front of the city gate. People twisted their noses and looked around. Soon, their gazes locked onto the big dog, and their eyes were full of disdain. What are you looking at? Have you never seen such a handsome dog? The big dog's bell-like fierce eyes stared at everyone. Handsome? Handsome? People were speechless. Why don't you go take a piss and look at yourself? Handsome? Don't you have any shame? I'm not convinced. The big dog shouted unscrupulously. So what? I've seen shameless people, but I've never seen someone as shameless as you. It's just a beast. What's there to be arrogant about? Everyone immediately attacked together, all of them talking at once, their saliva flying everywhere. Fuck, are you looking for death? The big dog flew into a rage. Ahem. The 2 men at the side coughed and glared at the big dog. Then they looked at the crowd and said apologetically, I'm sorry, everyone. When we go back, we'll definitely discipline this damn dog. Everyone looked at the 2 men with even more disdain in their eyes. Sure enough, like master, like pet. They are all equally sloppy. Hurry up and take your dog away. Don't smoke us here. My nose hurts. Everyone twisted their noses, their eyes filled with disgust. All right, all right, all right. The 2 burly men nodded. Then, they fled into the city with their dogs. The city guards also had a look of disgust on their faces. They didn't even bother to interrogate them. Because of Wu Sanyuan's order to search for Mo Wu Hui, all the major city gates were strictly checked. However, because the dog was too smelly and the 2 men were not eye-catching, the guards automatically ignored them. After entering the city, the 2 of them and the dog became the center of attention no matter where they went. Everyone stayed far away from him. Soon, 2 people and 1 dog stopped in front of a restaurant. The people going in and out of the restaurant immediately pinched their noses and walked around them. What are you doing? Hurry up and leave. Don't affect our business. A shop assistant ran out and shouted with a look of disdain. Big Dog's face darkened, and he said angrily, now even the shop assistants are looking down on people. Who are you calling a dog? I'm telling you, don't cause trouble here. Our Tianyue restaurant is not a place where you can stay. The shop assistant shouted angrily. That's right. This was the Tianyue restaurant. What? Do you think we can't afford it? Let me tell you, we have so many divine crystals and soul stones that we can smash you to death. Hurry up and prepare a good private room for us. Treat us well. Otherwise, Tianyue restaurant will have to bear the consequences. Big Dog was extremely arrogant. Yo! You'll have to bear the consequences? The shop assistant shouted and shouted, men, chase them away immediately. As soon as he finished speaking, two burly men in black ran out. These two men looked exactly the same. Obviously, they were twins. Their cultivation was also not bad. They were both in the perfection imperishable realm. Please leave. The twin brothers looked at the big dog and the two middle-aged men beside it and said expressionlessly. The two middle-aged men looked at each other with a trace of surprise in their eyes. When did these two men appear in the Tianjue restaurant? Although the perfection imperishable realm was not as powerful as the sovereign realm, they could still be a deterrent. We're just here to have a meal and drink some wine. Can't we do that? You don't welcome us because we're dirty. When did the Tianjue restaurant become so snobbish? The two middle-aged men were dissatisfied. It's not that we don't welcome you. It's because your presence may affect other guests, so please understand. At this moment, a beautiful figure walked out and looked at the two men and the dog with a smile. It was a woman with a thin veil on her face. Her delicate facial features were faintly discernible. Her white dress was spotless, and her figure was exquisite. That's right. She was the woman who claimed to be ugly, Yuqing. Greetings, building master. The shop assistant and the twin brothers bowed. Yuqing nodded and looked at the two men and the dog. She smiled and said, "How about this? The Tianjue restaurant has a VIP room for guests to rest. You can go wash up first." "Thank you, building master." One of the burly men cupped his hands and smiled. "Take them there." Yuqing looked at the shop assistant and said with a smile. "Yes." The shop assistant nodded and looked at the two men and the wolf. He said coldly, "Follow me." The two men and the wolf looked at each other and followed the shop assistant into the restaurant and went upstairs. "What's this smell? Building master, does your Tianjue restaurant allow anyone to enter?" Suddenly, an arrogant voice sounded. The two men and the wolf were stunned. They turned their heads and saw a purple-clothed young man enter the restaurant with two attendants. Immediately, one of the middle-aged men revealed a trace of a smile in his eyes. "What's wrong?" The other man and the big dog looked at him suspiciously. "I've seen him before. He's a son of Zhao Xiaojin's uncle." The middle-aged man transmitted his voice. "That's right. The two men and the dog were Qin Feiyang, lunatic, and the white-eyed wolf. We bumped into the Zhao family so soon." Lunatic and the white-eyed wolf were stunned. "What's the saying? If it's fate, we'll meet even if we're 1,000 miles apart. This means that we're fated to meet the Zhao family." Qin Feiyang smiled secretly. "What are you looking at?" "That's the young master of the Zhao family, Zhao Xiaoqian. We can't afford to offend him. Let's go." The shop assistant looked at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf and urged them. "We can't afford to offend him." The two men and the wolf smiled. They were here for the Zhao family and city lord Wu Sanyuan. Now that they met him, of course, they couldn't let him go. "It's young Master Zhao. Please come in." Yuqing also smiled and went up to greet him. "No, no, no. With them here, I'm not in the mood to drink." Zhao Xiaoqian waved his hand and looked at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf with disgust. The shop assistant said angrily, "Did you see that? You've scared away our guests. Why aren't you coming with me to the VIP room?" "Shut up. If you keep talking, I'll slap you to death." The madman raised his eyebrows. They were really challenging his limits. The shop assistant was furious and shouted, "You guys don't know what's good for you. What's going on?" When Yuqing heard the shop assistant's shout, she immediately turned around. "OP, you let them go to the VIP room out of kindness, but they don't know what's good for them. They even threatened to slap me to death." The shop assistant ran to Yuqing's side and said angrily. Yuqing frowned slightly. Looking at the two men and the wolf, she said, "The three of you are in the wrong." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and walked to Zhao Xiaoqian. He cupped his hands and said, "Greetings, young Master Zhao. We know each other?" Zhao Xiaoqian frowned and looked at Qin Feiyang. "We've met once. It's just that young Master Zhao forgets things and doesn't remember us." Qin Feiyang smiled. "Don't try to get close. How could young Master know trash like you guys?" Zhao Xiaoqian's two followers laughed in disdain. Qin Feiyang nodded and said, "Yes, yes, yes, we can't afford it. But young Master Zhao, we know a lot about your Zhao family." Zhao Xiaoqian was stunned and asked suspiciously, "What do you mean? Why don't we talk in the VIP room?" Qin Feiyang smiled. "Not interested. If you have something to say, say it in front of everyone," Zhao Xiaoqian said. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "I'm afraid that if I say it in front of everyone, it will affect your Zhao family negatively." Zhao Xiaoqian frowned. Qin Feiyang walked forward and said in a low voice, "Zhao Xiaojin." "What?" Zhao Xiaoqian's expression changed. "How about it? Are you interested now?" Qin Feiyang laughed. Zhao Xiaoqian looked at Qin Feiyang and nodded, "Then please." "Okay." Qin Feiyang laughed, looked at the waiter, and said, "Lead the way." "Okay." The waiter nodded. He actually knew Zhao Xiaoqian. You really can't judge a book by its cover. His attitude changed and he quickly ran to the front to lead the way. Yuqing also had a trace of surprise in her eyes. The other guests in the hall also looked at the two people and the wolf curiously. "On the third floor. Please come in." The waiter pushed open the door of a VIP room, stepped aside, and looked at Qin Feiyang and the others with a smile. "Remember, don't look down on people next time." The white-eyed wolf smiled proudly and entered the room. "Yes, yes, yes." The waiter nodded. "You guys stare in front of me," Zhao Xiaoqian said as he looked at the two attendants. Then, he followed Qin Feiyang and Zhao Xiaoqian into the VIP room. "If you need anything, please tell us." The waiter stood at the door and looked at them with a flattering smile. "Not for now." Qin Feiyang waved his hand. "Okay." The waiter nodded and closed the door. Inside, Qin Feiyang walked into the tea room, turned around and looked at Zhao Xiaoqian, and smiled, "Young Master Zhao, please sit." "No need. Just say it, where is Zhao Xiaojin now? As long as you tell me what benefits you want, this young master can satisfy you," Zhao Xiaoqian said. "Young Master Zhao, you're really a straightforward person." Qin Feiyang chuckled as he sat beside the tea table and leisurely brewed tea. Seeing this, Zhao Xiaoqian said angrily, "I don't have time to waste with you, hurry up if you want to say it." "Okay. Come over a little, I'll tell you secretly." Qin Feiyang smiled. "How troublesome." Zhao Xiaoqian snorted and walked to the opposite side of Qin Feiyang. Chapter 3149. Qin Feiyang raised his head and looked at Madman. With a thought, Madman grabbed Zhao Xiaoqian's neck and covered Zhao Xiaojin's mouth. Zhao Xiaoqian's expression changed. He struggled with all his might and cried out non-stop. He was only at the 9 heavens realm, how could he struggle free? Qin Feiyang stood up and formed a seal with both hands. A puppet imprint appeared and entered Zhao Xiaoqian's head like lightning. Soon, the control was complete. Madman also let go of Zhao Xiaoqian. "What did you do to me?" Zhao Xiaoqian looked at the two of them in shock. "Nothing, I'm just joking with you." Qin Feiyang smiled. "Don't try to fool me. Let me tell you, if you don't explain it clearly today, I'll let you go out lying down." Zhao Xiaoqian's face was filled with hostility. Go out lying down. Do you have the ability? White-eyed Wolf looked at him mockingly. I don't, but my Zhao family does. Wait, I'll get someone right away. Zhao Xiaoqian smiled coldly and turned to walk towards the door. Qin Feiyang laughed. You want to leave before you've even displayed your value? What value? Zhao Xiaoqian frowned. He. Your value. Qin Feiyang smiled. With a thought, Zhao Xiaoqian's gaze suddenly became dull. That's right. The current Zhao Xiaoqian, under the control of the puppet technique, was an obedient puppet. Go outside and tell everyone how you tricked Zhao Xiaojin and Mo Yuancheng. Qin Feiyang said. Yes. Zhao Xiaoqian respectfully replied, opened the door, walked out of the room, and stood in the corridor. Young master, what's wrong with you? The two followers looked at Zhao Xiaoqian suspiciously, feeling that something was wrong. But Zhao Xiaoqian ignored them and walked to the railing, looking at the guests in the hall below. Most of the guests below were actually discussing what happened that night, but no one had a clue. Do you really want to know what happened that night? Suddenly. Zhao Xiaoqian said. Immediately. Everyone looked up at Zhao Xiaoqian. I know. Zhao Xiaoqian said. Young Master Zhao, what do you know? Tell me about it. Everyone was curious. In the meantime. On the 10th floor, Yuqing was about to enter her room when she heard Zhao Xiaoqian's words. She stopped in her tracks and looked at Zhao Xiaoqian curiously. Zhao Xiaoqian asked, I wonder if you've heard of someone called Zhao Xiaojin? Zhao Xiaojin? Everyone's eyes were filled with suspicion. Zhao Xiaojin is my third uncle's daughter, which means she's my cousin. My third uncle's family lives in the alliance capital of the Azure Wave Snow Mountain, immediately. Zhao Xiaoqian then recounted the process of how he had tricked Zhao Xiaojin and Qin Feiyang that night in detail. What? Your father actually set up a trap to harm his own niece? Everyone was dumbfounded. Yuqing's eyes were also filled with shock. The two attendants were also bewildered. Because only the direct descendants of the Zhao family knew about this, they didn't know about it until now. However, why would the young master say such a big thing in public? One had to know. Once this matter was exposed, it would be a devastating disaster for the Zhao family. Young master, can you stop talking? Let's hurry back. The two of them hurriedly pulled Zhao Xiaoqian and said in a low voice. Get lost. Zhao Xiaoqian pushed the two of them away and continued, Wu Sanyuan made a move that night because he coveted the Space Divine Object. That Space Divine Object was very powerful, so he ordered everyone to withdraw from the city. Young master, don't say any more. If the city lord finds out, our Zhao family will be finished. The two attendants secretly exclaimed. What was going on? Young master actually said such a secret in public? Could it be, they suddenly thought of the two men and the dog. Young master was fine before he entered the VIP room with them, but when he came out, he became like this. It must have something to do with them. The two of them hurriedly ran into the VIP room. However, the huge VIP room was already empty. Only the teapot was bubbling and the fragrance of tea floated in the air. Where is he? Not good, this is a conspiracy. Their expressions changed as they hurriedly ran out and pulled Zhao Xiaoqian, young master, quickly follow us home. However, Zhao Xiaoqian turned a deaf ear and said, although the city lord personally took action, I heard from my father that he did not succeed. Then who's behind all this? Someone asked. It's the 10th elder of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. I heard from my father that this 10th elder's grandson caused the death of my third uncle Zhao Eryong in the alliance. In order to avenge third uncle and the others, my cousin killed the 10th elder's grandson, causing the 10th elder to harbor a grudge in his heart. He got my father and the others to poison my cousin. Zhao Xiaoqian said. So that's how it is. Zhao Xiaoqian, your father and the others are really ruthless. Zhao Eryong is their younger brother, and Zhao Xiaojin is also their niece. After such a thing happened, not only did they not seek justice for Zhao Eryong, they even colluded with their enemies to harm their own niece. I really don't know how to admire your father and the others. Is this considered putting righteousness before family? Everyone immediately mocked. What's going on? Yueqing couldn't help but frown. Everyone knew that one should not wash one's dirty linen in public, but Zhao Xiaoqian actually said it out loud? Wasn't this equivalent to causing the death of the Zhao family? Shua. Suddenly, she looked at the door of the VIP room and thought of Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. She hurriedly took a step forward and landed at the door of the VIP room. We've already gone in to take a look. There's no one there. The two followers looked at Yueqing and said in a deep voice. Yueqing urged, this should be a conspiracy, quickly bring your young master back. We want to too, but as you can see, young master seems to be possessed. The two of them were extremely anxious. Yueqing turned around and looked at Zhao Xiaoqian, and said, knock him out. Knock him out? We don't dare to do that. The two of them shook their heads. What's the point of worrying so much now? If you let him continue like this, your Zhao family will really be finished. Yueqing said in a deep voice. The two of them looked at each other, gritted their teeth, raised their hands, and slapped the back of Zhao Xiaoqian's head. But at this moment, Zhao Xiaoqian's sluggish eyes suddenly became clear. He turned his head to look at the two followers and said angrily, what are you doing? The two of them quivered and quickly retracted their arms. They looked at Zhao Xiaoqian and said, young master, are you awake? What do you mean? Zhao Xiaoqian looked at the two of them suspiciously. Look at those people below. The two of them pointed at the hall. Zhao Xiaoqian lowered his head and heard the discussions of those people. His expression immediately changed. The two attendants sighed and said, you were the one who told them this personally. What? Zhao Xiaoqian's expression changed, and he roared, why didn't you stop me? We did, but it was useless. You even pushed us away. Young master, what's going on? The two followers had a wronged look on their faces. Zhao Xiaoqian's eyes darkened as he began to recall what happened before. Suddenly, he looked at the VIP room, killing intent surging in his eyes, and then he rushed in. Looking at the empty VIP room, he was stunned. He then looked at the two followers and roared, where are they? They're long gone. The two of them shook their heads. Damn it, this is a trap. Zhao Xiaoqian roared. Yueqing entered the VIP room, looked at Zhao Xiaoqian and sighed, go back quickly, let your father think of a way to salvage the situation. That's right, young master. Once this matter falls into the ears of the city lord, he will definitely not let you go, let alone our Zhao family. The two followers were also burning with anxiety. Let's go. Zhao Xiaoqian's heart sank, and his face was filled with fear. He immediately brought the two followers and activated the teleportation altar to leave. Who could it be? After Yueqing watched the three of them leave, he scanned the VIP room and frowned. Wait a minute. Two people and a dog? This combination, could it be them? Creak. The door of the VIP room suddenly closed. Yueqing was shocked. He quickly turned his head and saw two people and a wolf standing behind the door. Shao Qing, long time no see. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. You guys? Yueqing was stunned. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other and immediately returned to their original appearances. It's really you guys. Yueqing looked at them in shock. The white-eyed wolf chuckled and said, who else do you think has the ability to do this? So, it's you guys who are secretly controlling Zhao Xiaoqian? Yueqing said. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded, walked into the tea room, and drank tea leisurely. Then why did you guys do this? Are Zhao Xiaojin and Mo Wuji your friends? Yueqing had a suspicious look on his face. Qin Feiyang chuckled and said, we just saw injustice on the road and drew our swords to help. This woman still couldn't be trusted, so he couldn't say that he was Mo Wuji. Yueqing was stunned. She wouldn't believe Qin Feiyang's nonsense. There was definitely something fishy about this. However, she was very tactful and didn't ask. Qin Feiyang glanced at the VIP room and said with a smile, I think the Heaven Immortal Tower is not bad. We will stay here for a few days. Xiaoqing, we won't disturb you, right? Of course not. I'm very happy. However, you guys have to change your faces. If the Zhao family and the City Lord Manor's people come to investigate, I won't be able to protect you guys. Especially Wolf King, you'd better not follow them for the time being. After all, your combination is too eye-catching. Yueqing looked at the white-eyed wolf and said. We know this in our hearts. Qin Feiyang nodded and asked with a smile, this Wu Sanyuan, does he have any children? Yes. 3 sons. They often come to my Heavenly Joy Tower. Yueqing nodded. Then how are their characters? Qin Feiyang asked. As the City Lord's sons, how can their characters be? They are no different from Zhuo Tiancheng's children. Yueqing had a look of disgust on her face. That's good. Killing such people can be considered as eliminating evil for the people. Qin Feiyang chuckled. Yueqing's eyes narrowed. It seemed like this Wu Sanyuan should have offended these people before. Otherwise, Qin Feiyang and the others wouldn't deal with him like this. Alright then. If Wu Sanyuan's sons come again, inform us. Qin Feiyang said. Okay. Yueqing nodded. After that, she continued, however, after Zhao Xiaoqian's ruckus, I'm afraid they won't come in a short period of time. It's fine, I'll wait patiently. If they really don't come, I'll personally make a trip to the City Lord Manor. Qin Feiyang faintly smiled, but a frightening cold light flashed through his eyes. Chapter 3150. Outside. Not long after Zhao Xiaoqian left, most of the customers paid their bills and left. Since such a big thing had happened, they had to immediately inform their friends and family to watch the show. The people who stayed in the restaurant were also discussing. This spread from 1 to 10, from 10 to 100, and very quickly, it spread throughout Cloud Sea City. You damned beast! Zhao family. In a certain house. Zhao Xiaojin's uncle, Zhao Yunhai, slapped Zhao Xiaoqian hard on the face. Zhao Xiaoqian spat out a mouthful of blood, and his entire body was sent flying, smashing heavily onto the ground. Father, this isn't my fault. I was also schemed against. He hurriedly got up, knelt in front of Zhao Yunhai, and complained. I know that you were schemed against, but does Wu Sanyuan know? Even if he knows, he won't let you off, and he won't let our Zhao family off. You're trying to kill our Zhao family. Zhao Yunhai's eyes were filled with rage. I know, that's why I came back to look for you immediately and asked you to think of a way. Zhao Xiaoqian nodded, his face filled with fear. Tell me, things have already come to this, what can I think of? Zhao Yunhai was so angry that his face and neck were red. Patriarch, suddenly. An anxious roar could be heard. A guard hurriedly ran over. What's the hurry? Zhao Yunhai raised his eyebrows. The guard looked at Zhao Xiaoqian who was kneeling on the ground and wanted to say something but hesitated. Looking at the guard's eyes, Zhao Yunhai had already guessed the gist of it and said, Speak. There are rumors outside that you and the second patriarch plotted to murder the eldest Mississippi, and it was young master himself who said it in the Tianhua pavilion. The guard lowered his head and said, Look, it's already caused a ruckus in the city, how do you want me to deal with it? Zhao Yunhai glared at Zhao Xiaoqian and roared. Father, you have to save me. Zhao Xiaoqian was terrified. Zhao Yunhai's face was gloomy, he suddenly looked at the two followers and said, Immediately take young master and leave Wind Sea City, find a place to hide. Yes. The two of them replied respectfully. Thank you, father. Zhao Xiaoqian got up and prepared to leave. Boom! But at this moment, a terrifying aura descended. Zhao Yunhai's expression changed greatly. He raised his head and saw a middle-aged man in a golden robe standing in the sky. Welcome, City Lord. Zhao Yunhai immediately bowed. Greetings, milord. Zhao Xiaoqian, the guard, and the two attendants also hurriedly knelt and kowtowed. Meanwhile, Zhao Xiaoqian was drenched in cold sweat. How did they get here so quickly? What should he do now? The city lord was definitely here for him. He then looked at the city lord. His expression was even gloomier than Zhao Yunhai's as he walked step by step towards Zhao Yunhai. My lord, I can explain, Zhao Yunhai hurriedly said. Explain? Now that everyone in the city knows about it, is your explanation still useful? I don't care. The key is the 10th elder. This son of yours actually exposed the matter of the 10th elder. Even if I show mercy and let your Zhao family go, do you think the 10th elder will let you go? The city lord roared. Sir, please show us the way. Zhao Yunhai hurriedly knelt on the ground, terrified. The one who tied the bell should untie it. This matter started because of your son, so it must be ended by him. The city lord glanced at Zhao Xiaoqian. Zhao Xiaoqian's gaze trembled, and his face turned pale. Because he felt a trace of killing intent in Wu Sanyuan's eyes. Zhao Yunhai glanced at Zhao Xiaoqian, then looked at the city lord and said, Please give me your orders. Bring him to the central square and announce to the public that he was jealous that you treated your other children better than him, so he made up a lie to ruin our reputation. And clean up the family in front of everyone, kill him. When the time comes, I will appear and help you prove it. I believe that everyone will believe it. Wu Sanyuan said. Kill me. Zhao Xiaoqian's body stiffened, and hurriedly shouted, My lord, spare me, father, you can't kill me, I'm your flesh and blood. You asked for it. Wu Sanyuan snorted. Zhao Yunhai also nodded, That's right, if I don't kill you, our entire Zhao family will be finished. You, Zhao Xiaoqian looked at Zhao Yunhai in disbelief. Don't blame me. Zhao Yunhai shook his head, stood up and looked at the guard beside him, and shouted, Immediately take him to the central square. Yes. The guard nodded, took a step forward, grabbed Zhao Xiaoqian's clothes, and twisted it. Let me go. I don't want to be a scapegoat. These things, even if I said it, are the truth. If you kill me, I will announce to the world that what I said is true. I will completely ruin your reputation. Zhao Xiaoqian roared hysterically. Even a rabbit would bite when cornered, let alone a living person. However, his words had completely infuriated the city lord, and also completely aroused Zhao Yunhai's killing intent. Cripple him and cut off his tongue. Zhao Yunhai roared. Yes. The guard nodded. He smashed Zhao Xiaoqian's chi-si with a palm, then took out a dagger and cut off Zhao Xiaoqian's tongue. Ah! Zhao Xiaoqian screamed miserably. The heart-wrenching pain almost made him faint. Big brother, at this time. Zhao Xiaojin's second uncle, Zhao Yuntian, rushed over. When he saw that the city lord was here as well, and that Zhao Xiaoqian was in such a state, he was shocked. Greetings, city lord. Zhao Yuntian bowed, and his heart was extremely uneasy. He had just received the news and immediately ran over to discuss it with Zhao Yunhai. But he never expected that the city lord would be a step ahead of him. Zhao Yunhai comforted him, "Second brother, don't panic. We've already thought of a way to deal with it." Zhao Yuntian was stunned. Zhao Yunhai was about to explain when Wu Sanyuan shouted, "Don't say anything else, take him there immediately." "Yes." Zhao Yunhai nodded and looked at the guard. The guard picked up Zhao Xiaoqian again and activated an altar. "Second brother, you go with him." Zhao Yunhai looked at Zhao Yuntian and said, All right, all right." Zhao Yuntian nodded repeatedly. Even though he didn't know what was going on, it was fine as long as it could be solved. On the same day. So, news of this spread throughout the city. So that's how it is. This Zhao Xiaoqian really isn't human. Just because Zhao Yunhai treats his other children well, he made up nonsense and ruined their reputation. This Zhao Yunhai really raised a white-eyed wolf. The people discussed. Tianyue restaurant. At the same time, a group of guards barged into the city lord's estate. "What are you doing here?" The waiter of the restaurant hurriedly went forward to welcome them. "We suspect that Zhao Xiaoqian has accomplices hiding in your Tianyue restaurant, so we're investigating your restaurant. Call your restaurant master out." A guard captain shouted. All right, all right." The waiter nodded. Yuqing walked out of the room and smiled, "No need to call me, I'm out. Go ahead and investigate." "All right, search. And every single one of them must be verified with a Heaven's Eye stone." The guard captain gave the order, and the group of guards immediately took action. Heaven's Eye stone. Yuqing was shocked, and she couldn't help but look at the VIP room on the third floor. Using the Heaven's Eye stone to investigate was beyond her expectations. She couldn't help but worry. The two guards quickly found the VIP room. Without knocking on the door, they directly kicked the door open and entered. "Be gentle, don't damage my things." Yuqing ran over with a pained expression and followed the two guards into the room. When she entered the room, there was no one. And the teapot was empty, and there was no tea fragrance in the room. The table and the floor were spotless as if no one lived there. Looking at this scene, she couldn't help but secretly breathe a sigh of relief. She also admired the actions of Qin Feiyang and the others, erasing all traces so quickly. No one. The two guards searched for a while, then left the VIP room and entered the next room. Yuqing also left the room and closed the door. About half an hour passed. The search finally ended. Even the kitchen was not spared, but nothing was found. After sending off the group of guards, Yuqing quietly entered the VIP room on the third floor, only to see Qin Feiyang and Madman already sitting at the coffee table, leisurely sipping tea. That really scared me to death. Yuqing sat opposite the two of them, patting her mountain-like chest as she said. "What's so scary about such a small battle?" Madman was speechless. "I'm not like you, my tolerance is limited." Yuqing shook her head. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and asked, "What happened?" "I just heard that Zhao Yunhai and Zhao Yuntian personally took action and killed Zhao Xiaoqian in the square in the center of the city in front of countless people, settling this matter." Yuqing briefly explained the situation. "It settled just like that?" Everyone believed it. Madman was stunned. "It can't be helped. That Zhao Yunhai and Zhao Yuntian are too good at acting. When they killed Zhao Xiaoqian, their pained expression, even if you saw it, you would believe it." Yuqing said. "Poor guy, he was used as a scapegoat." Madman shook his head. Qin Feiyang was also quite surprised. He didn't expect Wu Sanyuan and the Zhao family to resolve this matter so easily. Madman looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Old Qin, we can't let them get away with it like this. Then what good idea do you have? Qin Feiyang asked with a smile. Is there even a need to think about it? Zhao Xiaoqian's words don't have much influence because his status is too low. However, Wu Sanyuan's 3 sons are different. They're Wu Sanyuan's sons. If they say it personally, the effect will definitely be great. Madman smiled slyly. Sure enough, we're brothers, thinking of the same thing. Qin Feiyang smiled. Then let's do it? Madman asked. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and said with a smile, don't worry. Let Wu Sanyuan and the Zhao clan relax for 2 days first. When they think that this matter is over, we will give them another heavy blow and make them despair. Most importantly, we can enjoy a good show of them killing their own sons with their own hands. Interesting, Madman smiled slyly. Yueqing looked at Qin Feiyang and Madman and couldn't help but shake her head and laugh. If you offend these 2 people, there's really no fruit to eat. They can torture you until you collapse. She couldn't help but sympathize with Wu Sanyuan and the Zhao family. Chapter 3151. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. The city lord's estate. Zhao Yunhai, Zhao Yuntian, and a robust man in black armor were standing before Wu Sanyuan. The robust man had a cold expression on his face, and the aura he emanated was at the late-stage ruler realm. How is it? Wu Sanyuan looked at them. I've searched the entire city for the past 2 days, but I haven't found them. The robust man shook his head. We haven't found anything either. Zhao Yunhai and Zhao Yuntian sighed. I don't believe that they've vanished from the world. Wu Sanyuan roared. If they're determined to hide, it'll be very difficult for us to find them. The robust man sighed. He was the vice city lord of Ocean of Cloud City. Regardless of whether it was his cultivation or status, he was on par with Zhuo Tiansheng. Then we'll dig 3 feet into the ground. They dared to scheme against me. We have to find them no matter what. Wu Sanyuan's expression was grim. Using Zhao Xiaoqian to deal with them was sufficient to prove that they knew their secrets. If they weren't eliminated as soon as possible, they would definitely cause endless trouble in the future. City Lord, do you think it's possible that Mo Yuanyuan and Zhao Xiaojin are behind this? Zhao Yunhai suddenly asked. Wu Sanyuan was slightly stunned, and then he shook his head. That shouldn't be the case. I heard that Zhao Xiaojin has returned to the Alliance capital. Returned to the Alliance capital? Then who else knows about our secrets? Zhao Yunhai frowned. Wu Sanyuan said, but I heard that they didn't see Mo Yuanyuan return. He didn't return? Then it's definitely related to Mo Yuanyuan. He wants to take revenge on us. Zhao Yunhai's gaze sank. Mo Yuanyuan. Wu Sanyuan pondered for a moment and said, I'll confirm it with the 10th elder. All of you can leave first. Yes. The 3 of them replied respectfully, and then they turned around and left the hall. Wu Sanyuan took out the divine voice transmission stone, and the 10th elder's image quickly appeared. Greetings, 10th elder. Wu Sanyuan stood up and bowed respectfully. The 10th elder nodded and asked, You sent me a message because you found Mo Yuanyuan, right? Wu Sanyuan hurriedly said, Please forgive me. I haven't found him. If you can't find Mo Wu Hui, then why are you contacting this elder? Do you think that I'm free? The 10th elder said furiously. No. Elder, I have something that I would like to confirm with you personally. Wu Sanyuan hurriedly said. What is it? The 10th elder frowned. Wu Sanyuan asked, Did Mo Yuan go back with Zhao Xiaojin? No. The 10th elder shook his head. Really? Wu Sanyuan was stunned. What is it? The 10th elder was doubtful. Wu Sanyuan pondered deeply for a moment and said respectfully, "To tell you the truth, something happened in the city 2 days ago." Immediately, he told her about Zhao Xiaoqian's situation in detail. Such a thing actually happened? The 10th elder frowned. Yes. But don't worry, we've already taken care of this matter. It won't affect your reputation. And we suspect that these 2 people and 1 dog are being controlled by Mo Fengyuan. Wu Sanyuan said. It's best that you don't affect this elder. Otherwise, all of you will die. The 10th elder's eyes flashed coldly. I understand. Wu Sanyuan nodded, not even daring to breathe loudly. Mo Yuan really didn't return. Because I paid special attention to them. I only saw Zhao Xiaojin enter the Hall of the Exalted. The 10th elder said. All right, thank you, elder. Wu Sanyuan thanked him. Mo Yuan didn't return to the Alliance capital. Then, he must still be in the city. Quickly find him. The 10th elder instructed. Yes. Wu Sanyuan nodded. After the 10th elder's image dissipated, he called Zhao Yunhai and the others in and shook his head. Mo Yuan really didn't return to the Alliance capital. Then it must be him. The 3 of them had gloomy gazes. Because besides Zhao Xiaojin and Mo Yuan, no one else knew about this secret. Find him. We must find him. Wu Sanyuan said in a low voice. How? The 3 of them were puzzled. It was easy to say. The eastern continent was vast and had a huge population. Mo Yuan had deliberately hidden himself. It was like looking for a needle in a haystack. He used Zhao Xiaoqian to reveal our secret in public. Why did he do that? Isn't it to take revenge on us? Fortunately, we reacted in time and prevented his scheme from succeeding. However, he will absolutely not give up just like that. Wu Sanyuan said. You're saying that he'll look for another opportunity? The 3 of them were surprised. That's right. Wu Sanyuan nodded and said in a low voice, it's very likely that he'll repeat the same trick. So, the Zhao family will definitely continue to be his target. Zhao Yunhai and the others' hearts sank. The direct descendants of the Zhao family were all present. So, Mo Yuan will probably make a move against them. As for the 2 of you, your cultivations are relatively strong. If he isn't confident, he will definitely not come looking for you. Wu Sanyuan said. Then what should we do? Why don't we ask the direct descendants to leave the city and hide? Zhao Yunhai and the other asked. No. Since we already know his target, why don't we beat him at his own game and lure him out? Wu Sanyuan sneered. Zhao Yunhai was shocked and hurriedly asked, You're saying that we should use the direct descendants of the Zhao family as bait? That's right. Both of you go back and make arrangements later. Ask your direct descendants to head to the various restaurants and cause as much trouble as possible. The bigger the commotion, the better. Both of you observe from the shadows. Capture anyone who intends to harm your clansmen. In short, we'd rather kill 1,000 by mistake than let a single one escape. A cold glow flickered in Wu Sanyuan's eyes. Understood. Both of them nodded. Wu Sanyuan gazed at the black-armored man and said, Go assist them. Yes. The black-armored man replied respectfully. Then go. Wu Sanyuan waved his hand. The 3 of them exchanged glances, and then they turned around and left swiftly. You better not let me catch you. Wu Sanyuan laughed coldly, and then he vanished from the hall the next day. The VIP room. Yueqing entered the room and smiled as he gazed at Qin Feiyang and the madman who were seated in the tea room. Are the 2 of you used to living here? There's food and drinks. Most importantly, there's no need to pay. Isn't it great? Even if you chase me away now, I won't complain. The madman chuckled. I can't wait for you to stay here. Yueqing smiled and sat opposite Qin Feiyang. Have some tea. Qin Feiyang poured a cup of tea and retreated to Yueqing's side. Yueqing took a sip and asked curiously, Qin Dage, what kind of tea leaves are these? The taste is amazing. Heavenly Immortal Dew. Qin Feiyang smiled. Heavenly Immortal Dew. This name is really a perfect match. If you open a tea room with these tea leaves, I guarantee that your tea room will be full every day. Yueqing smiled. I don't have the time for that. You didn't come here just to chat with us, right? Qin Feiyang said. Nothing can be hidden from Qin Dage's eyes. I do have something to say. I heard that since yesterday afternoon, all the direct family members of the Zhao family have run out and entered the major restaurants to drink and cause trouble. They also caused quite a commotion. Yueqing said. Drink and cause trouble? Qin Feiyang and the madman looked at each other with a trace of suspicion in their eyes. This is what I don't understand. Shouldn't they be hiding at home after such a big thing happened? Why do they dare to run out? Yueqing frowned. Yes. So arrogant, aren't they afraid that we will do something to them? The madman looked at Qin Feiyang in confusion. Qin Feiyang lowered his head and pondered. Where's your leader? This young master wants to see her. Call her out immediately. Suddenly, an arrogant and domineering voice came from outside. Yueqing was slightly stunned. Looking at Qin Feiyang and the madman, she said, I'll go out and take a look first. Qin Feiyang nodded. Yueqing stood up and walked out of the VIP room. Standing in the corridor, she looked down at the hall and saw a purple-clothed youth holding onto a wine jug, drunkenly tossing and turning. The people from the surrounding private rooms also walked out and gathered in the corridor, looking suspiciously at the purple-clothed youth. Isn't this Zhao Tianyin's son, Zhao Xiaoshui? What is he doing? Don't you know the rules of the Heavenly Joy restaurant? Everyone discussed in low voices. Zhao Tianyin's son. VIP room. Qin Feiyang and the madman looked at each other. It was actually a descendant of the Zhao family. Immediately, the two of them also stood up and walked out of the room. They stood in the middle of the crowd and looked at Zhao Xiaoshui, who was making a scene below. Young Master Zhao, do you need something from me? Yueqing stepped in front of Zhao Xiaoshui and laughed. When Zhao Xiaoshui saw Yueqing, his eyes revealed an evil smile, and said, This young master wants to see your face that is covered by the veil. As he said that, he raised his arm and grabbed towards the veil on Yueqing's face. Yueqing raised her eyebrows, dodged like lightning, and said in a deep voice, Young Master Zhao, please respect yourself. Respect? You're talking to me about respect? Huh. Don't you think it's ridiculous? Today, you must take off your veil, or else this young master will tear down your Heavenly Joy restaurant. Zhao Xiaoshui stepped on the table and sneered. Men! Yueqing shouted. Up! The twin brother quickly ran out. Young Master Zhao has drunk too much. You guys personally send him back to the Zhao family and hand him over to Lord Zhao Tianyun. At the same time, let him pay for the wine. Yueqing said. Yes. The two of them nodded, stepped forward, and walked out with Zhao Xiaoshui. This young master didn't drink too much, let go. Zhao Xiaoshui struggled with all his might. However, the two of them turned a deaf ear to him and quickly left with him. Yueqing looked at the customers around and smiled, I'm really sorry to disturb everyone's mood. As an apology, everyone's consumption today will be 20% off, 20% off. Good, good, good. Then thank you, OP waiter, give me a few more jars of Heavenly Mountain Dew. We'll also have a few more jars of immortal wine. Everyone was overjoyed. Inside the restaurant, it became lively again. Qin Feiyang and Madman returned to the VIP room, and Yuqing came in again soon after. They actually came to my Heavenly Joy restaurant to cause trouble. What exactly does this Zhao family want to do? Her expression was rather angry. Chapter 3152. They are trying to lure you into a trap. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Lure you into a trap? Yuqing was taken aback. The madman frowned and pondered for a while before saying in surprise, "You mean, these people are bait?" "That's right. They are doing this to lure us out." Qin Feiyang nodded. "I didn't expect them to be so smart." The madman smiled. "After all, they are the city lords, how could they be idiots?" Qin Feiyang smiled. "You mean, this is arranged by the city lord?" Yuqing was suspicious. "Of course. How could Zhao Yunhai and Madman be willing to let their family take such risks? But this city lord, no matter how much he thought about it, the only thing he didn't think about is that our target isn't the Zhao family, but him." Qin Feiyang smiled coldly and looked at the madman. "We will go to the city lord's mansion tonight and give him a surprise." The madman's eyes revealed a smirk. Late at night. The city lord's mansion. Two figures appeared in front of the gate. On both sides of the gate stood 4 guards, all of them at the perfection imperishable stage. But they didn't seem to see the 2 people who suddenly appeared. That's right. These 2 people were Qin Feiyang and the madman. Because Qin Feiyang had activated the concealment technique, the 4 guards didn't know that someone had appeared. The city lord's mansion was heavily guarded. There was a guard every 3 steps and a sentry every 7 steps. But in front of Qin Feiyang and the madman, it was useless no matter how strict it was. Just like that, the 2 of them openly walked past the 4 guards and entered the city lord's mansion. After a search and investigation, they finally knew where Wu Sunyuan's 3 sons lived. A moment later, the 2 arrived in front of a lake. The lake was more than 1,000 feet long and there were ripples on the surface of the lake. In the night, this place seemed extremely peaceful. On the other side of the lake, 3 exquisite pavilions sat side by side. There were more than a dozen guards standing guard in the dark. This was the residence of Wu Sunyuan's 3 sons. More than a dozen guards were at the great circle of the imperishable realm, protecting them very well. However, in the eyes of Qin Feiyang, it was nothing more than a figurehead. The 2 of them flew across the lake and landed in front of the first pavilion. The door of the pavilion was tightly shut, but it was not a problem for the 2 of them. The 2 of them entered the Black Tortoise world. They controlled the Black Tortoise world and entered the pavilion through the crack in the door. Very soon, they were in a cultivation room on the 2nd floor, looking at a purple-clothed youth. He was about 20 years old, over 1.8 meters tall, with a tall and straight figure and an air of arrogance between his eyebrows. Without any hesitation, Qin Feiyang directly appeared. Before the purple-clothed youth could react, he was thrown into the Black Tortoise world. Next, he quickly snuck into the other 2 lofts and forcefully brought the other 2 people to the Black Tortoise world. Throughout the entire process, there was not a single sound. The dozen or so guards who were guarding the area didn't notice it at all. Black Tortoise world. Western regions. The 3 youths stood in the air above the Blood Sea, looking around in surprise. Where is this? On the side, Madman crossed his arms and looked at the 3 of them with a playful gaze. Swish! Qin Feiyang suddenly appeared beside Madman. The 2 of them were disguised, so the 3 of them didn't know their identities. Who are you? Where is this place? The 3 of them looked at Qin Feiyang and Madman in panic. Is there a need to ask? Look at this endless blood sea, then look at the environment and atmosphere here, this is obviously hell. Madman was playing. Hell. The three of them were shocked. One of the youths said angrily, "Stop pretending to be mysterious to scare us. Do you think we're scaring you? No, no, no. We are the legendary Oxhead and Horseface, in charge of seizing the souls of wastrels like you. Actually, you don't have to be too nervous. With the immoral things you did in the world of the living, at most you'll be fried a few times." Madman chuckled. When the three of them heard this, they couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. He was actually going to put it in a wok of oil and fry it repeatedly? Who can stand this? One of them said with a trembling voice, "The legendary Oxhead and Horseface don't have the head of an ox and the face of a horse, but you are humans." Who said that Oxhead and Horseface have to be Oxhead and Horseface? Madman said angrily. That person shrunk his neck. Qin Feiyang glanced at Madman, then looked at the three of them, and then scanned the surroundings. Don't say any more. This scarlet blood sea, coupled with the pungent smell of blood and the blood mist that filled the air, this place really looked like hell. Let's not talk nonsense, come with us, the oil has been heated up for you in advance. Madman shouted, as if he was serious. Two of them were trembling in fear. But the other purple-clothed youth's face was extremely gloomy as he shouted, "Second brother, third brother, what are you afraid of? How can there be hell in this world? Not to mention Oxhead and Horseface, this is nonsense. I actually didn't scare you. You have guts." Madman looked at the purple-clothed youth in surprise and laughed. "Humph. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your purpose is, you better let us go immediately, otherwise, even if the heavens come down, they won't be able to save your lives." The purple-clothed youth snorted. "So powerful?" Madman chuckled and slapped out with his palm. "You're courting death." The purple-clothed youth shouted and punched at Madman. His aura suddenly erupted, and he actually had the cultivation of the initial imperishable realm. Not bad. But in front of me, even if you're a tiger, you still have to obediently lie down. Madman smiled coldly. The fists met in an instant. With a crack, the purple-clothed youth's fist and arm shattered, and blood flowed out. What? Seeing this, the other two were shocked. He actually shattered their big brother's arm, how terrifying was his strength. Boom! Madman also erupted with a terrifying aura. Greater imperishable realm. The three's expression changed. "All of you, lie down." Madman took a step forward, and his aura was earth-shattering. The three were immediately sent flying, and blood flowed out of their mouths. "Enough, don't really kill them." Qin Feiyang quickly stopped Madman. Madman retracted his arm and looked at the three with disdain. "Don't think that because you're Wu Sunyuan's son, I won't dare to touch you, so you better be obedient." The three's heart trembled. He actually knew their identity? Knowing their identity and daring to attack them, this meant that he must have something to rely on. "Let me ask you, do you know that your father framed Zhao Shaojin and Mo Yuanchu?" Qin Feiyang looked at the three and asked. The three were stunned. "Speak." Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. "I've heard of it. But this is nonsense from Zhao Shaoqian, the Zhao family has already clarified." The three hurriedly said. "It seems that Wu Sanyuan didn't tell you." Qin Feiyang said indifferently. Madman transmitted his voice, "Old Qin, they don't even know, how are we going to arrange it? Is that important? As long as they are controlled by the puppet technique, they will say whatever I tell them to say. As for the rest, it's not important at all." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "That's true." Madman nodded with a smirk on his face. Boom! Qin Feiyang released his pressure, firmly imprisoning the three of them. Immediately after, he formed a seal, and three puppet imprints quickly appeared and entered the top of their heads. "Since we have already controlled them, why don't we read their memories first and see if Wu Sanyuan has any secrets? Madman chuckled. Good idea. Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up, he immediately calmed down and began to read the memories of the three. The process of reading memories was quite painful. The three of them hugged their heads, their faces distorted as they howled miserably. Time flew by. About half an hour later, Qin Feiyang's eyes suddenly had a trace of surprise. Is there a situation? Madman looked at him and asked. Qin Feiyang didn't answer and continued to read the memories of the three of them. Another moment passed. A meaningful smile crept onto his face. Don't be so mysterious, hurry up and say it. Madman urged anxiously. He must have found something incredible, otherwise Qin Feiyang wouldn't have such an expression. It's all ridiculous things, there's nothing to say. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Ridiculous things? Madman was taken aback and became more and more curious. He said angrily, if you don't say it, I will fall out with you. Qin Feiyang hesitated for a moment and nodded. All right. Immediately. Qin Feiyang whispered a few words in Madman's ear. It can't be. Madman looked at Qin Feiyang in shock. Can I lie to you? Qin Feiyang was speechless. It is indeed ridiculous. If Wu Sanyuan knew, I wonder how angry he would be. Madman's mouth twitched, but his eyes were filled with playfulness. He would probably be angered to death. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. The next morning. The square in the center of the city. Before the sun rose, three people stood on the square. They were Wu Sanyuan's three sons. They were like three statues, standing on the square without moving, their eyes were empty. Look, aren't those the sons of the city lord? Weird, why are they standing on the square so early in the morning? As the sun rose, more and more people gathered outside the square. Everyone had a suspicious look on their faces. Lord. City Lord's manor. A guard hurriedly ran to the front of a palace. The palace gate was closed. This was Wu Sanyuan's palace. A moment later. Wu Sanyuan wore a jacket and walked out. Beside him was an alluring woman. The woman was around 25 or 26 years old. Her clothes were revealing and she was extremely seductive. Looking at her, the guard couldn't help but feel restless. Why are you in such a hurry so early in the morning? Wu Sanyuan looked at the guard, his face filled with anger. Lord. I just heard someone report that the three young masters were standing on the square in the center of the city early in the morning. I wonder what they are doing. The guard came back to his senses and looked away from the woman, looking at Wu Sanyuan. What? Standing on the square in the center of the city? Wu Sanyuan was slightly taken aback and frowned. Are they crazy? I don't know either. The guard shook his head. Then call them back. Is there a need to report such a small matter to me? Wu Sanyuan said angrily. We can't call them back. When we found the three young masters standing on the square, we sent people to look for them. But the three young masters seemed to be possessed. No matter what we said, they wouldn't listen and just stood on the square. The guard frowned and said. This matter was really mysterious. Chapter 3153. Possessed? Wu Sanyuan was stunned. How could this be? Wait. Why was this situation so similar to when Zhao Shaoqian was in Heavenly Delight Pavilion? Shit! Wu Sanyuan exclaimed and immediately activated the teleportation altar and jumped up. Sanyuan, where are you going? The enchanting woman hurriedly spoke. Her charming voice coupled with her delicate figure that was faintly discernible beneath her thin dress caused one's imagination to run wild. Something big has happened. Stay at home. Wu Sanyuan spoke gloomily before his figure swiftly vanished. At the square. At this moment, the square was surrounded by a sea of people. The violet-clothed young man and his two companions weren't the only ones on the square. There were also over a dozen guards from the city governor's estate. They stood guard by the three of them, and their brows were tightly knit together as they gazed at the three of them who remained motionless. Swoosh! Suddenly, a figure descended in the sky above the square. It was Wu Sanyuan. "My lord." The guards immediately stepped forward and bowed. Wu Sanyuan nodded and descended before the three of them. He sized them up, and his pupils instantly constricted when he saw their empty eyes. He shouted, "Knock them out right now and bring them back." "Knock them out?" The group of guards looked at each other in dismay. "Hurry up," Wu Sanyuan urged. "Yes." The guards nodded and immediately swarmed forward. "Fuck off." But right at this moment, the three of them finally reacted. They looked at the group of guards and yelled, "Young master, you've finally spoken." The guards were pleasantly surprised. However, Wu Sanyuan felt extremely uneasy in his heart. "Father, you're here. Since father is here, then let's not waste any more time. Let's speak in front of everyone now." The three of them spoke successively. "What are you talking about?" The people outside the square had puzzled expressions on their faces. "I believe everyone has heard about Zhao Xiaoqian in the past few days. Actually, he didn't speak nonsense at all. It's all true. It was our father, Wu Sanyuan, who instigated Zhao Yunhai and Zhao Tianyun to harm Zhao Xiaojin and Mo Yuanyuan. It was also our father who coveted Mo Yuanyuan's spatial treasure and asked everyone to leave the city." The three of them spoke successively. "Young master." The guards' expressions changed abruptly. Wu Sanyuan's face sank. The people outside the square were also in an uproar. It was actually true. Yes. Everything is real. You have all been deceived by Wu Sanyuan and the Zhao family. Furthermore, this matter is indeed as Zhao Xiaoqian said. It was all orchestrated by the Rogue Cultivator Alliance's 10th elder. The three of them replied. "Shut up, all of you," Wu Sanyuan roared. However, the three turned a deaf ear to him. They looked at the people outside the square and said, "You might not understand why we, as Wu Sanyuan's sons, would stand out and testify against him? Actually, we've long disliked his actions. As his sons, we all feel that this is a disgrace. You may be doubting our words, but we can swear to the heavens. Every word we say is true. If there is a single lie, may the heavens strike us with lightning." The three of them spoke righteously, as if they abhorred evil and were filled with righteous indignation, causing Wu Sanyuan to be angered to the point his face turned ashen and his body trembled. "Young master, that's enough." The group of guards were extremely anxious as well. "Father, we didn't tell you the truth to harm you. We just want to tell you to quickly turn back. You can't do all the evil deeds. Accumulate some virtue for us descendants. As long as you repent now, everyone will forgive you. You will still be the respected city governor of Ocean of Cloud City." The three of them looked at Wu Sanyuan with bitter resentment and cried out, "Unfilial son! Unfilial son!" Wu Sanyuan was furious, and his divine energy surged out and drowned the three of them. Accompanied by a painful cry, the three of them lost their lives on the spot, and blood splattered all over the square. "Mo Yuanyuan, I know you're the one behind this. Get the fuck out here and die." Wu Sanyuan's aura roared through the sky as he swept through the void and roared. However, no one replied. He released his divine sense, but he didn't find any spatial artifacts in the void. For his own selfish reasons, he did such a heartless thing. This city governor of Ocean of Cloud City is really something. Suddenly, a voice of disgust resounded from the crowd. Wu Sanyuan swiftly turned around to look, and he saw that it was a robust young man in black clothes. What are you looking at? Are you telling me not to speak? The black-clothed young man spoke furiously. Exactly. You can control the heavens and the earth, but can you control what we say? The most infuriating part is that you actually asked us to leave the city. I always thought that we encountered some sort of unforgivable evil, and the city governor's estate went all out to pursue them. So, it was all for your own greed. A middle-aged man roared from the other side of the crowd. Yes, you're a selfish bastard. You've simply gone too far. And that 10th elder of the Independent Cultivator Alliance as well. It was his grandson's fault, yet he actually tried every means to kill Zhao Xiaojin and Mo Yuanyuan. What a shameless old dog. Such an alliance isn't worthy of our protection and support at all. Exactly. As an elder, you should be impartial and just. But he relied on his status and identity to allow his grandson to do as he pleased. I must have been blind in the past to actually choose to support them. In my opinion, this Independent Cultivator Alliance isn't even half of the demonic hull. Such a faction shouldn't even exist in this world. The anger in the hearts of the others was also ignited, and they all roared furiously. Wu Sanyuan's face darkened as he watched the situation get out of hand. This had obviously caused public anger. What was the most terrifying thing in this world? It was undoubtedly public anger. Once public anger was provoked, it didn't matter how high one's status was or how powerful one was. My lord, we can't stay here for long. Let's go back quickly. A group of guards ran over and whispered. If this continued, they would probably drown in everyone's spittle. The city lord glanced around with a gloomy expression. Without saying anything, he activated a teleportation altar. My lord, how does it feel to kill your own son with your own hands? Don't worry, I'll tell you another piece of good news. Your 3 precious sons and your favorite concubine all have some kind of relationship that you can't imagine. Right when Wu Sanyuan was about to step foot onto the altar, a ridiculing voice resounded in his mind. Wu Sanyuan's figure shook, and he hurriedly glanced at the crowd. Where is he hiding? City governor, let's go. The group of guards urged him on. Wu Sanyuan withdrew his gaze, stepped onto the altar with a gloomy expression, and then vanished swiftly. The group of guards left successively as well. Everyone. We absolutely can't allow such a selfish person to continue serving as the city governor of our city. Exactly. That Zhao clan colluded with our enemies to harm their own niece. Such scum must be driven out of the city as well. The black-clothed young man who'd incited the crowd and the middle-aged man roared. Right. Come, let's head to the Zhao clan right now and kick them out of the city. All of them immediately surged aggressively towards the Zhao clan. As for the black-clothed young man and middle-aged man, they exchanged glances from afar, and then a wisp of a smile flashed through their eyes before they seized the opportunity to leave. Not bad. They were Qin Feiyang and Madman. It was Madman who'd sent the message to Wu Sanyuan. Now that they'd achieved their objective, there was naturally no need for them to stay here any longer. They returned to Heavenly Delight Pavilion and started drinking wine to celebrate. There's going to be a good show to watch. Madman teased. Yes. Not to mention Wu Sanyuan and the Zhao clan, even the 10th elder will probably suffer. Qin Feiyang nodded. It could have been a huge matter, but it was different now. It had been blown out of proportion, and as the person behind the scenes, the 10th elder couldn't escape his fate. Because if the Independent Cultivator Alliance didn't give the world an explanation, then it would be impossible to quell the rage of the people. If the rage of the people wasn't quelled, then the Independent Cultivator Alliance would be despised by the entire continent. The higher-ups of the Independent Cultivator Alliance wouldn't allow such a thing to happen. The good show I spoke of isn't the 10th elder. Of course, the 10th elder will definitely put on a good show as well. Madman waved his hand. Then what are you talking about? Qin Feiyang looked at him suspiciously. The matter of his 3 sons and his concubine. Madman smiled mischievously. What? You told Wu Sanyuan? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Of course. How could I hide such a fun thing from him? Madman smiled mischievously. You. Qin Feiyang shook his head speechlessly. Madman smiled mischievously and asked, then, are you preparing to return to the Alliance capital now? No rush, no rush. I haven't used my ultimate move yet. Qin Feiyang shook his head. You still have an ultimate move? Madman was stunned. Once this matter falls into the ears of the higher-ups of the Independent Cultivator Alliance, the 10th elder will definitely receive the corresponding punishment. However, he's an elder after all. At most, he'll be punished and won't suffer any loss. But when I use my ultimate move, his ending won't be just like this. A light punishment would be to kneel in front of others and apologize. A heavy punishment might even cause him to lose his position as an elder. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed coldly. What ultimate move? Madman was curious. You'll know tomorrow. Let's not talk about it and celebrate first. Qin Feiyang smiled and raised his wine cup. Since he was in such a good mood, he didn't mind drinking a few more cups. Chapter 3154. City Lord's Mansion. Wu Sanyuan returned to the main hall and sat on the throne above. His gaze was hazy as he glanced at the dozen or so guards below. The dozen or so guards stood together in fear and trepidation. Their faces couldn't help but turn pale. Tell me, how did you guard them? Right under your noses, the 3 young masters were kidnapped. What's the use of me keeping you? Wu Sanyuan roared, like an exposed lion, his entire body emitting a shocking murderous aura. That's right. The guards standing below were the ones who protected Wu Sanyuan's 3 sons. Lord, please spare us. The group of guards immediately knelt on the ground, kowtowing and begging for mercy. Spare us? If I spare you, how can I let my 3 sons down? Seeing that you have served the city lord's mansion for so many years, kill yourselves and I will leave you with an intact corpse. Wu Sanyuan said coldly. Sir, I beg you, please give us another chance, we must be careful in the future. Please, I beg you, the group of people begged endlessly. But the city lord was unmoved and said coldly, do you want me to do it? Swish. He suddenly stood up, his eyes flashing with strong killing intent. No, Lord, please give us another chance. We promise that we will work for you wholeheartedly in the future. The group of people were terrified to the extreme. After talking for so long, no one listened. It seems that my words no longer have any deterrence. Go to hell. Wu Sanyuan was full of hostility. A terrifying aura surged out and rushed towards the group of guards. No! Ah! Accompanied by a series of desperate screams, the dozen or so guards immediately splashed blood into the sky. Blood dyed the entire main hall red. There were still many guards in the main hall. Looking at this scene, they all lowered their heads in fear, afraid that they would be implicated. But Wu Sanyuan was still not appeased. He looked at the 2 guards and shouted, you 2, immediately go and call Feng Xiaoyu for me. Yes. The 2 guards responded and quickly ran out. Not long after, the 2 of them walked in with an enchanting woman. This woman was his concubine. He doted on this concubine very much. No matter what, he would obey her. However, the madman's words were like a bolt from the blue. The woman looked at the corpse in the hall and her face paled slightly. She hurriedly ran to Wu Sanyuan's side and grabbed his hand. Sanyuan, what happened to you? Get out of my way. Wu Sanyuan bellowed and forcefully lifted his hand. The enchanting woman was caught off guard. She immediately let out a painful howl and rolled on the ground. All of you, get out. Wu Sanyuan looked at the guards. A group of guards hurriedly ran out of the hall. Wu Sanyuan waved his hand as the doors to the great hall closed. After which, he gloomily stared at the alluring woman and said, "Tell me the truth. Did you collude with those 3 unfilial sons?" The enchanting woman panicked. She tried her best to cover it up. She shook her head and said, "I didn't." "You heard about it. How could I do such an immoral thing? Still trying to quibble? Your panicked expression has already explained everything." Wu Sanyuan roared. "I really didn't. I was frightened by you." "Sanyuan, what's wrong with you? Why would you think that? You still don't know what kind of person I am." The woman looked at Wu Sanyuan with a disappointed expression. "So, I've wronged you?" Wu Sanyuan sneered. "You've really wronged me. I wouldn't do such a thing. You have to believe me." The woman shook her head. "I want to believe you, but your expression has already betrayed you. I really didn't expect that I would be cuckolded by my own son. I let you live a life of luxury and let you live a better life than others. But how did you repay me? You white-eyed wolf, you all deserve to die." Wu Sanyuan roared. He took a step forward and landed in front of the woman. Then, he sent a palm strike toward the woman's head. "Sanyuan, don't kill me, I know I'm wrong. Please spare me. I promise that in the future, I'll serve you well. I'll do whatever you want me to do." Seeing this, the woman quickly knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. "There's really such a thing? You shameless woman. Go to hell." Wu Sanyuan roared. Actually, he was just trying to scare her. Because he wasn't willing to believe it as well. But he hadn't expected that just trying to scare her would make her speak the truth. How could he not be furious? His own son had seduced his own concubine, and that was simply the humiliation of his life. If news of this were to spread, then how would others talk about him behind his back? He was furious. Pooh! A mouthful of blood sprayed from his rage. A moment later, his palm descended, and the woman's head exploded into pieces on the spot. Blood sprayed all over the ground. His body was covered in blood as well, and he seemed extremely ferocious. "What sin have I committed? Why is the heavens doing this to me?" Wu Sanyuan stood in the hall and roared furiously. Meanwhile, in the Zhao clan. "Zhao, get the fuck out of the city right now. Our city doesn't welcome scum like you. Fuck off. Fuck off as far as you can and never show your face again." At this moment, it was surrounded by a huge crowd, and curses resounded incessantly. In the meeting hall of the Zhao clan, Zhao Yunhai, Zhao Yuntian, and all the other elders had worried expressions on their faces. "Zhao Yunhai, Zhao Yuntian, this is all your fault. You must take responsibility for it until the end." One of the elders suddenly gazed at them and spoke in a low voice. "Exactly. Each of you should take responsibility for your own actions. It was you who acted against little Jean, so you should take responsibility for it. You can't implicate our entire Zhao clan." The other elders spoke successively as well. "All of you." Zhao Yunhai glared angrily at them and said, "I asked all of you that day, and all of you didn't object. What? Now that something has happened, you want us to take responsibility for it? We didn't object, but we didn't approve of it either." One of the elders grunted coldly. "Cut the crap. Would we dare to act without your permission? Now that something has happened, you're trying to shift the blame. What sort of elders are all of you?" Zhao Yuntian was furious as well. "No matter what, all of you must deal with this matter properly. Otherwise, we'll choose another patriarch." The elders' attitudes were very firm. Don't go too far. Zhao Yuntian suddenly stood up, his face full of anger. Second brother, calm down. Zhao Yunhai snorted coldly, glanced at the elders gloomily, and said, it's not like we can't do anything about it. Zhao Yuntian was taken aback, and hurriedly asked, Big brother, what's your idea? The elders also looked at him suspiciously. Find little Jean. Zhao Yunhai said in a low voice. What? Find little Jean? Zhao Tianyan's expression froze. That's right. I know little Jin's character. As long as we sincerely apologize to her, she will definitely help us. Zhao Yunhai nodded. But. Zhao Yuntian frowned. No buts. Right now, only little Jean can help us. As Zhao Yunhai finished speaking, he took out the voice transmission stone. Although this was very embarrassing, he couldn't care less about it now. However, Zhao little Jean did not respond to him. We did such a thing to her, how can she help us? Zhao Yuntian sighed. Don't be discouraged. As long as we show sincerity, I believe that she will forgive us. Zhao Yunhai continued to transmit the message. Buzz. After several transmissions, Zhao Xiaojin's figure finally appeared. Little Jean, Zhao Yunhai was instantly overjoyed. You still have the face to send me a message? Zhao Little Jin's eyes were filled with disgust. Little Jean, we were wrong. We were confused for a moment and listened to Wu Sanyuan's nonsense. Yes, little Jean. We were all forced by Wu Sanyuan. Please forgive us. After all, we are family. Zhao Yunhai and Zhao Yuntian spoke one after another, their faces full of flattery. Family? Don't you think it's ridiculous to say such words? I'm sorry, I'm very busy. I don't have time to chat with you. After Zhao Little Jean finished speaking, she was ready to turn off the voice transmission stone. Little Jean, wait. We have something to ask of you. Zhao Yunhai hurriedly called out. I knew that you must have something to ask of me when you sent me a message. But why should I help you? Zhao Little Jean sneered. We admit that we have done something to let you down, but we have really regretted it. Now that the Zhao family is in trouble, you must help us. If you don't help us, the Zhao family will be destroyed. The Zhao family is not only our blood and sweat, but also your father's blood and sweat. Even if you don't want to give us face, you have to give your father face and help the Zhao family. I'll kneel down and beg you. Zhao Yunhai knelt on the ground with a thud. Little Jean, I'll kneel down and beg you too. Zhao Yuntian also knelt down. The group of elders looked at each other and knelt on the ground one after another, their faces full of pleading. Seeing this scene, Zhao Little Jean frowned and said, What happened? You still don't know? Zhao Yunhai was stunned. I've been in seclusion since I came back, so I don't know. Zhao Little Jean shook her head. It's like this, after you returned to the Alliance capital, 2 people and a dog suddenly appeared. Zhao Yunhai let out a sigh and explained the whole story in detail. When Zhao Little Jean heard this, her expression was slightly stunned. This was clearly targeted at the Zhao family and Wu Sanyuan. Could it be, the figures of Qin Feiyang and the mad scientist involuntarily appeared in her mind? That's right. It must be those 2 fellows. Amazing. Without using a single soldier, they caused the Zhao family and Wu Sanyuan to fall to such a state. Little Jean, now that the Zhao family is in danger, you have to help us. Zhao Yunhai cried out. I can't help. I don't have that much ability. Zhao Little Jean shook her head. You can definitely do it. We all heard that you're very close to the deputy leader's eldest grandson, Yi Tian. As long as Yi Tian appears, everything will be resolved. Zhao Yunhai hurriedly said. You even know about this. It seems that you're quite concerned about me. Zhao Little Jean sneered. Of course. After all, you're our niece. If we don't care about you, who should we care about? Zhao Yunhai smiled flatteringly. Scram. I've seen shameless people, but I've never seen people as shameless as you. From the moment you made a move to kill me, the Zhao family no longer has anything to do with me. Therefore, the life and death of the Zhao family has nothing to do with me. In the future, don't look for me again. Zhao Little Jean sneered, and the illusory figure directly dissipated. Chapter 3155. Zhao Yunhai, Zhao Yuntian, and the other elders were stunned on the spot, and they couldn't recover from their shock for quite some time. Was this still the Zhao Xiaojin they knew? In the past, Zhao Xiaojin was loyal, especially to his family, and he was especially kind and friendly. Yet now, all they could see was coldness and mercilessness. Alas! This proves what they say. We can go against the evils of the heavens, but we can't survive the evils we bring upon ourselves. The Zhao family was destroyed by our own hands. An elder sighed sorrowfully. First, their family was killed, and then they were betrayed. No matter how kind a person was, they would be disheartened when encountering such an incident. What should we do? The Zhao family was in a state of panic. There were even some who had started to smash the door on the next day. The Zhao family was facing a situation where they were surrounded and beaten up. It wasn't just the commoners, the various powers and clans of the city had come to attack them as well. They naturally didn't really come to attack them, and they were using this opportunity to take revenge on the Zhao family. Because of Zhao Eryong, the Zhao family had developed its forces in the city and offended many people, and these clans were amongst them. So, now that they had a chance to take revenge, they naturally wouldn't let it slip by. How lively. Suddenly, a faint laughter rang out. Although it wasn't very loud, it was clearly transmitted to everyone's ears. Why does that voice sound so familiar? Everyone was stunned, and then they raised their heads to look over. They saw two young men standing in the air, one in white and one in black. They are. Immediately, everyone's expressions changed. Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo. Yes, it's them. I saw them with my own two eyes in Wind Ocean City all those years ago. They actually came to Cloud Ocean City as well. Some people in the city were in an uproar. They gazed at the two of them with fear, and respect in their eyes. Not to mention anything else, just the fact that they dared to challenge the Vice Alliance leader and the fact that Qin Feiyang entered Wind Ocean City to fight Yi Tian for the sake of those innocent babies in Wind Ocean City was worthy of their respect. Are we disturbing all of you? Madman chuckled. No. They waved their hands repeatedly. What a joke. These were two ferocious people who had Dominator divine weapons. Even the vice leader of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance had to ask for peace. Who would dare to have any objections? The two of them looked at each other and smiled. They took a step forward and landed in the sky above the Zhao family. Naturally, Zhao Yunhai and the others also saw them at the first moment, and their hearts immediately became nervous. Why did these two people come to the Zhao family? Facing Qin Feiyang and Li Mu was even more flustered than facing the 10th elder. Qin Feiyang said with a smile, I heard that the Zhao family is in trouble, so I came to take a look. What do you mean? Could it be that the two of you know someone from the Zhao family? Zhao Yunhai was doubtful. If that was the case, then weren't these two people here to help the Zhao family? With the help of these two ruthless people, who would dare to touch the Zhao family? Thinking of this, Zhao Yunhai couldn't help but feel excited. We know a member of your Zhao family. Qin Feiyang nodded. Who is it? Zhao Yunhai asked expectantly. He was more and more certain that they were here to help the Zhao family. It doesn't matter who it is. Qin Feiyang shook his head. It really doesn't matter. Zhao Yunhai repeatedly nodded in agreement, then said with a flattering smile, "Your presence brings light to my Zhao clan's humble dwelling. Quickly, please come in. Servants, prepare good wine and dishes to entertain these two distinguished guests." Yes. Several guards responded and immediately ran off to make arrangements. No need. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. Zhao Yunhai was stunned and said with a smile, "Yes, yes, yes, I'm too tacky. How can ordinary wine and dishes enter the eyes of the two of you?" The madman said, "Don't flatter me, I'm too lazy to listen. Just say it, if you want me to help the Zhao family, I can, but you have to hand over all your spirit vein and crystal vein." What? Zhao Yunhai's expression froze. What? You don't want to? The madman raised his eyebrows. No, no, it's our Zhao family's honor. Zhao Yunhai waved his hand repeatedly. It's good that you know, I don't care about ordinary people. The madman smiled proudly. Yes, yes, yes. The spirit vein and crystal vein are at the back of the mountain, you too can take it. Zhao Yunhai nodded. If he wanted to seek protection, he definitely had to pay a price. Qin Feiyang and the madman looked at each other, and a wisp of a sinister smile flashed in their eyes. Lead the way. Okay, okay. Zhao Yunhai nodded and hurriedly led the two of them to the back of the mountain. Zhao Yuntian and a group of elders also eagerly followed behind. What do these two mean? They were quite righteous in Cloud Sea City. For those humiliated girls, they killed Yi Yuan, for those innocent babies, they fought Yi Tian. Why did they change after coming to Winxi City? They are actually helping the Zhao family? Is this trash worthy of their help? Everyone was very dissatisfied when they saw this scene. It can't be helped. Even if they really help the Zhao family, who would dare to say anything? I'm afraid even the Demon Palace would have to think twice before facing them. Someone shook his head. This was strength. With a ruler's weapon, one could roam the eastern continent without fear at the back of the mountain. Not bad, your Zhao family actually has so many spirit veins and spirit veins. The madman scanned the area with his divine sense, and his eyes were filled with surprise. The spirit veins and spirit veins here were over 10 times more than the Su family in Tianyuan City, which was Su Hua's grandfather's family. But it made sense. Tianyuan City was just a medium-sized city, but Cloud Sea City was a super city. As one of the strongest clans in a super city, the Su family naturally couldn't compare to it. I'm glad you like it. Zhao Yunhai smiled flatteringly. Then we won't hold back? The madman asked. Don't hold back, don't hold back. Zhao Yunhai waved his hand. All right. The madman nodded, and then he waved his hand and poured his divine energy into the ground, causing the entire mountain to tremble. The ground cracked as spirit veins and spirit veins broke out of the ground. A short while later, Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent all the spirit veins and spirit veins to the Black Tortoise world. He didn't leave a single one for the Zhao family. Zhao Yunhai and the others had extremely unsightly expressions when they saw this scene. They thought that the two of them would only take a portion, but they didn't expect them to take all of it. How would the Zhao family survive in the future? What? Judging from your expressions, you don't seem to be happy. The madman glanced at the group. No, no. Zhao Yunhai hurriedly shook his head, and then he looked at Zhao Yuntian and the elders with a smile. We're very happy, right? Yes, yes, yes. Zhao Yuntian and the elders nodded with flattering smiles on their faces. Crazy Man said, I don't like to force people. If you are really not willing, you can say it and I will return it all to you. You are thinking too much. We really didn't force you. We gave it to you willingly. Zhao Yunhai waved his hand. The two people in front of them were their only saviors, so they couldn't offend them no matter what. Really? The madman looked at him suspiciously. Really, really. Zhao Yunhai nodded. That's good, I don't want people to point at me behind my back and say that I'm a bully. The madman chuckled. Seeing the madman playing around with these people, and these people still wanted to worship the madman like an ancestor, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but laugh in his heart. Then, the two turned around and returned to the sky above the Zhao family's gate. The madman pointed at the crowd below and said, Zhao Yunhai, say it again in front of everyone. These spirit veins and crystal veins were given to us willingly. All right. Zhao Yunhai nodded and looked at the people below. He straightened his back and said loudly, my Zhao family's spirit veins and crystal veins were given to these two brothers of our own free will. We are also willing to fight with these two brothers forever. You all heard it, right? We didn't coerce the Zhao family, so don't make groundless accusations in the future and ruin our reputation. The madman looked at everyone and said. Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but roll their eyes. Wasn't the sovereign weapon a kind of invisible deterrence? Saying it in such a dignified manner, as if no one understood you. All right, old Qin, let's go. The madman chuckled and shouted. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. Immediately, the two flew toward the city lord's mansion. Go? Zhao Yunhai was stunned and hurriedly asked, you two, where are you going? Where to go is our freedom, what do you care? The madman raised his eyebrows. No, our Zhao family's matter hasn't been resolved yet. Zhao Yunhai hurriedly said. The madman turned his head and looked at Zhao Yunhai with a trace of mockery in his eyes. He said jokingly, do you really think we are here to help you? What? Zhao Yunhai's expression froze. Colluding with the enemy to murder your own niece, scum like you, even the heavens won't let you go. Why would they help you? Then aren't we going against the heavens? Heavens, we can't afford to offend them. You better pray for yourself. The madman said with a mocking smile. I see. They are here for the Zhao family's resources. I knew it, they are such righteous people, why would they help the Zhao family? The Zhao family is so pitiful. They thought they caught a life-saving straw, but in the end, they suffered a double loss. This is retribution. This is so satisfying. Everyone suddenly realized what was going on, and they started to mock him without hiding it. As for the people from the Zhao family, their expressions were extremely ugly. After all this time, they were actually playing with them? Zhao Yunhai was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood and roared, you two bastards, how dare you play with us, I will kill you. Swoosh. The madman suddenly turned his head and stared at Zhao Yunhai with a fierce look in his eyes. He said, what did you say? I dare you to say it again. Ha, he dares to threaten to kill them? Isn't he courting death? Even the Blood Hall couldn't kill them with two sovereign divine weapons. Who does he think he is? The people below also laughed heartily. Zhao Yunhai looked at the madman's eyes and heard the discussion below. His eyes trembled. Yes. Both of them had sovereign-level divine weapons. Offending them would be hastening the destruction of the Zhao family. Chapter 3156. I'm talking to you. Say it again and let me hear it. The madman stared at Zhao Yunhai, his eyes glowing with a blood-red light. So, sorry, I spoke without thinking. I'll apologize. Zhao Yunhai was a supreme existence in the sovereign realm, but at this moment, he was actually trembling in fear, and even stuttering when speaking. That's right, that's right. You guys are great people, please don't hold grudges against us. Zhao Yuntian and a group of elders also begged repeatedly. Zhao Yuntian was also in the sovereign realm, and these elders were all half-step sovereigns or early-stage sovereigns. But now, they were all panicking. It was clear how high the prestige of Qin Feiyang and the madman was in the eastern continent. Other than the upper echelons of the Devil Hall and the Rogue Cultivator Alliance, no one was afraid of them. Alright, since you've said it like this, I won't hold it against you. Take care of yourselves, you guys. The madman sneered. So. Just as Qin Feiyang and the madman were about to head to the city lord's mansion, a figure flew out from the mansion. You even took the initiative to come. The madman chuckled. That's right. The person who came was Wu Sanyuan. Actually, they had revealed their true bodies this time because of Wu Sanyuan. Wu Sanyuan flew over. When he saw Qin Feiyang and the madman, his pupils shrank slightly. When he heard the guard report that Qin Feiyang and madman Mo had appeared in the Zhao family, he didn't believe it. He didn't expect it to really be the two of them. City Lord, you have to uphold justice for us. They stole all of our Zhao family's spirit vein and crystal vein. Zhao Yunhai and Zhao Yuntian saw this and immediately ran to Wu Sanyuan to complain. The madman said indifferently, "Don't talk nonsense. You gave it to us willingly." Everyone heard it. That's right. We all heard it. We even said it ourselves. Zhao Yunhai, Zhao Yuntian, don't wrongly accuse a good person. The people below all spoke up for Qin Feiyang and the madman. We wrongly accuse a good person? The brothers' lungs were about to explode from anger. Wu Sanyuan glanced at Zhao Yunhai's group, glanced at the others below, and then gazed at Qin Feiyang's group and said, "Both of you came to Ocean of Cloud City for the sake of the Zhao clan's resources. Don't spout nonsense. They gave it to me on their own accord." Madman said. "Okay, I'll take it as a gift from the Zhao family." Wu Sanyuan nodded. "My lord," Zhao Yunhai and the other man hurriedly looked at Wu Sanyuan, their faces filled with grievances. "Shut up." Wu Sanyuan berated. After that, he looked at Qin Feiyang and Qin Wentian and asked, "Do you have any other matters? Then do you want us to do something else?" Madman asked in return. "If it's about reconciling with Lord Vice Alliance leader, I'm very hopeful." Wu Sanyuan nodded with a hint of anticipation in his eyes. "That's right, we're here to reconcile." Qin Feiyang finally opened his mouth and smiled. Wu Sanyuan was overjoyed. This was an opportunity. Reconciliation was the Vice Alliance leader's intention. As long as he brought the two of them to the Alliance capital to meet the Vice Alliance leader, the Vice Alliance leader might be happy and forgive him for his mistakes. "Then I'll bring you to the Alliance capital now." Wu Sanyuan couldn't wait to activate a teleportation altar. "No hurry, no hurry." Qin Feiyang waved his hands. "Why?" Wu Sanyuan was stunned. "Originally, we wanted to reconcile with your Vice Alliance leader. But now, I'm a little hesitant." Qin Feiyang shook his head. "What's there to hesitate about? After reconciling, it'll be beneficial for everyone." Wu Sanyuan was puzzled. Obviously, he was the same as the Zhao family previously. He also treated Qin Feiyang and Qin Wentian as his life-saving straw. "Of course I have to hesitate. All these years, I haven't shown my face because I've been inquiring about the character of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. Although Yi Yuan has done outrageous things in Wind Sea City, I still have the mentality of being lucky. Yi Yuan might be an exception, so I want to see if your Rogue Cultivator Alliance is worth making friends with." At first, I was quite satisfied. Everyone said that the purpose of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance was to protect the interests of the people. Your reputation in the Eastern continent is quite good. But what I didn't expect was that when I came to Cloud Sea City, I found that it wasn't like that. A trace of disappointment crept up on Qin Feiyang's face. I can explain. Wu Sanyuan hurriedly said. I've heard about it. You don't have to explain. The 10th elder wanted to kill Zhao Xiaojin and Mo Yuanyuan because he wanted to protect them. And you didn't hesitate to destroy the entire city for the sake of Mo Yuanyuan's spatial divine item. The Zhao family is even more outrageous. In order to protect themselves, they didn't hesitate to harm their own niece. In my opinion, these things are completely evil. So now, I have to reconsider whether to reconcile with the Vice Alliance leader. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Don't. That's just an isolated case. Actually, to tell you the truth, we were all threatened by the 10th elder. The purpose of our Rogue Cultivator Alliance has never changed. We've always been protecting the interests of the people. Wu Sanyuan spoke anxiously. A joke? If it was when the Rogue Cultivator Alliance was just established, then we would still believe it. But now, it's long gone. You're a group of selfish bastards. You're the parasites of the Eastern continent. While the Devil Hall is domineering, it has always been protecting the Eastern continent. But what about your Rogue Cultivator Alliance? Now, you only know how to bully others. That's right. First, it was Yi Yuan who harmed innocent girls in Wind Sea City. Then, it was Yi Tian who killed babies in Wind Sea City. Now, it's even worse. An elder's grandson actually dared to openly harm Zhao Eryong, a hero who defended the borders of the Alliance capital. Their family died such an unjust death. What's the point of talking about purpose when they even harmed their own people? Aren't they just deceiving themselves? Everyone gazed at Wu Sanyuan with disdain and disgust in their eyes. Wu Sanyuan's heart sank. It seemed like the anger of the people couldn't be quelled. Did you see that? This isn't what we said. It's what everyone said. How about the Rogue Cultivator Alliance? The people are all open-minded. After thinking about it, I think I should just enter the Devil Hall. Qin Feiyang smiled. Enter the Devil Hall. Wu Sanyuan's eyes trembled. That's right. At least the Devil Hall isn't letting down its conscience and the people of the Eastern continent. If you're free, help me tell your deputy leader that I can't afford to offend the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. Goodbye. Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and smiled. Then, he opened an altar and left with Mad Scientist. Wu Sanyuan wanted to stay with the two of them, but he didn't dare to make a move. He could only look vexed. The same went for the Zhao family. Even though the Zhao family was considered a super family in the Eastern continent, they could only feel sullen and angry when facing Qin Feiyang and Mad Scientist. Things are getting serious now. Qin Feiyang and Madman Mo actually want to join the Devil Hall. The deputy leader is obviously trying to curry favor with them and get them to join the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. But now, with the 10th elder and Wu Sanyuan stirring things up, everything is ruined. I reckon that when the deputy leader finds out, the two of them will suffer. There's also the Zhao family. The Zhao family is also an accomplice. In the deputy leader's eyes, he doesn't even care about Wu Sanyuan, let alone a mere Zhao family. He will kill them without hesitation. I'm afraid that we don't have to do anything. The Zhao family will also be destroyed. This retribution is really satisfying. As soon as Qin Feiyang and Mad Scientist left, the people started discussing without restraint. In the past, they would talk behind Wu Sanyuan's back. But now, they weren't afraid at all. So what if he heard them? They couldn't even protect themselves. Did they still want to kill them? Wu Sanyuan glanced at the crowd below, turned around, and left without saying a word with a gloomy face. As for the Zhao family, they could only suffer in silence, unable to voice out their bitterness. They thought that after listening to Wu Sanyuan's words, they could get the 10th elder's support. They didn't expect things to develop to this point. Now, not only did they not get any support, but they also lost all their resources. More importantly, the Zhao family's fate didn't change at all. They were in imminent danger. They had suffered a double loss. These words were no longer sufficient to describe their current situation. They had completely suffered a crushing defeat. Chapter 3157. That's right. This was the big move that Qin Feiyang mentioned. He wanted to use the vice leader's hand to kill the 10th elder's arrogance. Although he didn't know if the vice leader wanted to reconcile with him because of a conspiracy, he could make use of this point from how much the vice leader cared about him. Reconciliation required sincerity. Now that he wasn't willing to reconcile because of the 10th elder, the vice leader would definitely settle the score with these people to show his sincerity. In other words, he could defeat these people without spending a single soldier. As for the Zhao family in Wuxia, needless to say, they would definitely become cannon fodder. As expected. The Alliance capital. At this moment, in a large hall. What? The vice leader suddenly stood up and looked at the two figures in the void in front of him. These two figures were Lu Zhengyuan and Zhuo Tiansheng. Sir, this is absolutely true. Originally, Qin Feiyang and the others wanted to reconcile with you, but what the 10th elder and Wu Sanyuan did made them extremely disgusted. They even announced in public that they wanted to join the demon palace. The two said, "These two damn bastards, how dare they ruin my good thing?" The vice leader roared like thunder, his eyes were frighteningly gloomy. Good thing? Zhuo Tiansheng and Lu Zhengyuan looked at each other with a trace of surprise in their eyes. Could it be that it was really as Qin Feiyang and the others thought, that the vice leader wanted to reconcile with them because of a conspiracy? The vice leader seemed to have realized that he had lost his composure. He calmed down the anger in his heart and looked at the two of them. Do you know why I want to reconcile with them? We don't dare to speculate. The two hurriedly lowered their heads. The vice leader nodded and said with a smile, I admire the two of you very much. Do you know why? Please tell us, sir. The two of them said respectfully. Because you did your duty. Just like reconciling with them, if it were anyone else, they would definitely think about it, but you didn't. The vice leader smiled faintly and then sighed. Perhaps many people are guessing that I want to reconcile with them because of a conspiracy. What I want to say is, how can there be so many conspiracies in this world? Yes, yes, yes. They're all a bunch of villains who measure the heart of a gentleman. The two nodded. That's a bit too much. Gentlemen? I don't dare to admit it. However, this time, I am truly doing this for the good of our Rogue Cultivator Alliance. The vice leader sighed. Hearing this, Zhuo Tiansheng and the other man couldn't help but have a trace of suspicion in their eyes. Back then, the battle between the Blood Hall and Qin Feiyang took place in your Wind Sea City. I believe you all know his methods better than anyone else. The vice leader said. Yes. He himself is already very outstanding, and he even has a Dominator Divine weapon with him. It can be said that when facing him and Madman Mo, even our Rogue Cultivator Alliance and the Demon Palace have to treat them with caution. The two of them nodded. Wrong. The vice leader shook his head. Wrong? What did we do wrong? The two of them were suspicious. The phrase, treat with caution, is only suitable for the Demon Hall. And our Rogue Cultivator Alliance is completely powerless against them. Because our Rogue Cultivator Alliance doesn't have a Dominator weapon. The vice leader said in a deep voice. That's true. The two of them nodded. The Vice Alliance leader continued, then tell me, why can't our Rogue Cultivator Alliance compare to the Devil Hall? This, the two of them pondered for a moment before looking at the Vice Alliance leader and saying at the same time, the Dominator weapon. That's right. What we lack is the Dominator weapon. The Vice Alliance leader nodded. Lu Zhengyuan was shocked and asked, Sir, do you mean that we snatched the Dominator weapon from Qin Feiyang's hands? Snatched? The Vice Alliance leader was extremely speechless. He shook his head and said, How can you say such a silly thing? Ah, isn't that the case? Lu Zhengyuan was a little puzzled. Of course not. What's the difference between this and bandits? Besides, we don't have the strength to do so. So, we can only express our goodwill to them and let them join our Rogue Cultivator Alliance. The Vice Alliance leader smiled. So that's the case. The two of them suddenly understood. That's the meaning of reconciliation. I really hope that they can join the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. If possible, I'm even willing to give up my position as the Vice Alliance leader to them. The Vice Alliance leader sighed. Zhuo Tiansheng said suspiciously, If that's your intention, then why did you try so hard to kill them back then? Back then, I didn't know that they had a sovereign weapon. If I had known, would I have offended them for Wang Hui? The Vice Alliance leader shook his head. Then this matter is a little difficult to deal with now. It wasn't easy for Qin Feiyang to have the idea of reconciliation, but now that the 10th elder and the others have caused trouble, when Lu Zhengyuan said this, his face was full of worry. So, this matter must be resolved as soon as possible. The Vice Alliance leader's eyes turned cold. How do we resolve it? The two of them asked. The Vice Alliance leader pondered for a while. Then, a cold light flashed in his eyes as he said in a deep voice, This matter must be resolved from the root. You mean the 10th elder? Lu Zhengyuan and Zhuo Tiansheng were surprised. Don't worry about this matter. As for you, can you contact Qin Feiyang and the others? The Vice Alliance leader was doubtful. Us? Lu Zhengyuan and Zhuo Tiansheng were stunned. Yes. The Vice Alliance leader nodded and looked at Zhuo Tiansheng. Didn't you say that your daughter ran away with them? You can try to contact your daughter. This unfilial daughter, why would I contact her? Zhuo Tiansheng pretended to be angry. Don't. It's all in the past. Why are you still angry? The Vice Alliance leader comforted him. But I still feel uncomfortable. If it wasn't for this wretched girl, would Qin Feiyang and the others be able to escape? Zhuo Tiansheng said angrily. You have to think so too. Even if your daughter didn't help them, they still have a sovereign divine weapon. You can't kill them. Now that I look back, your daughter has a good eye. After all, a young man with such outstanding talent and a sovereign divine weapon is unique in the Sky Cloud realm. The Vice Alliance leader laughed. What else did Zhuo Tiansheng want to say? Enough. A grown man like you is so wishy-washy. Send a message to your daughter and tell her to tell Qin Feiyang and Madman Mo that we are sincere in wanting to reconcile. As for the two of you, you can use the relationship between Madman Mo and Zhuo Xiaoxian to persuade them with reason and emotion. I believe that as long as they see our sincerity, they will definitely reconcile with us. The Vice Alliance leader smiled. If we make it clear, it shouldn't be a problem to reconcile. But I'm afraid it will be a little difficult to get them to join our Rogue Cultivator Alliance. Lu Zhengyuan sighed. There are no difficult things in this world. I'm afraid there are people who are willing to do it. If in the end, they really don't want to join our Rogue Cultivator Alliance, it doesn't matter. We just have to be on good terms with them. Besides, we can tie them to our Rogue Cultivator Alliance through Zhuo Xiaoxian. The Vice Alliance leader laughed. What do you mean? Zhuo Tiansheng and Zhuo Tiansheng were puzzled. Think about it. As long as Madman Mo and Zhuo Xiaoxian get married, won't we be a family? The Vice Alliance leader laughed. That makes sense. Lu Zhengyuan nodded. He then looked at Zhuo Tiansheng and said with a smile, "Old Zhuo, since the Vice Alliance leader has said so, don't be so petty. Send a message to Xiao Xian and ask her to come back. Lu Zhengyuan is right. As a man, you should be more magnanimous. Besides, you're her father. How could she hold a grudge against you? Do this well. If you do it well, I'll reward you handsomely." The Vice Alliance leader smiled. "Thank you, Lord." The two bowed and thanked him. "All right then, that's all for now." The Vice Alliance leader's figure quickly disappeared after he finished speaking. Zhuo Tiansheng put away the divine voice stone and pondered for a while. He then looked at Lu Zhengyuan and said, "Do you think we should come clean with the Vice Alliance leader?" "Come clean?" Lu Zhengyuan was shocked. He transmitted his voice, "Are you crazy?" "I'm not." Zhuo Tiansheng shook his head. "If you're not crazy, why would you have such thoughts?" Lu Zhengyuan frowned. "What I mean is, since the Vice Alliance leader has already made his intentions clear, there's no need for us to continue hiding it," Zhuo Tiansheng said. "Silly." Lu Zhengyuan glared at him, and said, "This is a separate matter. Although the Vice Alliance master wants to curry favor with Qin Feiyang and the others right now, if he finds out that we were lying to him in the past, do you think that with his personality, he would forgive us?" "That seems to be true." Zhuo Tiansheng thought carefully and nodded. "So, our relationship with Qin Feiyang and the others must not be exposed. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable," Lu Zhengyuan said in a deep voice. "Got it." Zhuo Tiansheng nodded. After thinking for a while, he said, "Then let's send a message to Qin Feiyang now and tell him this?" "Yes." Lu Zhengyuan nodded. While the two of them were sending a message to Qin Feiyang, the Vice Alliance leader, who was sitting in the main hall, activated the divine voice stone again. Buzz. Not long after, a figure appeared. It was Xing San who had appeared in Wind Sea City. "Greetings, Lord." Xing San bowed and saluted. The Vice Alliance leader said, "Pass down the order, ask the 10 elders to come to me immediately. Also, invite Zhao Xiaojin and the Hall of the Exalted Hall Master. In addition, go to Cloud Sea City and bring Wu Sanyuan and the person in charge of the Zhao family to me." "Yes." Xing San responded respectfully, and the figure quickly dissipated. "How dare you ruin my plans? No matter who you are, I won't let you have it easy." The Vice Alliance leader put away the divine voice stone, and his eyes were filled with strong murderous intent. After a while, 10 figures entered the main hall one after another. There were men and women, old and young, and all of them exuded an unfathomable aura. Among them, the 10th elder was among them. At this moment, his expression was extremely uneasy. The Vice Alliance leader looked at him with extremely gloomy eyes. The other 9 elders looked at him and could not help but frown. Obviously, they had also heard some rumors. Another moment passed. 2 figures entered the main hall. The leader was an old man in a white robe. He had white hair and a white beard, and he looked like an immortal. He was the old man that Qin Feiyang and Zhao Xiaojin saw in the square when they came out of the trial ground. The 10 elders looked at this person with a trace of fear in their eyes. Behind the old man in the white robe was Zhao Xiaojin. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.